Hey, J-Bone Nation! Shaming of Jay! He's not a dopey dumb bitch. He gets laid.
What is it, buddy?
The court jester, the court DJ. It's time to dive into the case. To the case.
What's up, guys?
What is happening? Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
We are, what's up? We are ready to go, folks. We already have the previous witness on the stand. I think it's the same. Actually, I don't know if it's Wheeler, but I guess we'll confirm. We got the new logo up here. We are ready to go, folks. Apparently this witness did some surveillance, so I guess I'm not sure if direct is done and we're on cross, but we shall see. Thanks everyone for being here. If you did not come in on the morning stream, we have much better video. I mean, it's not perfect, and much better audio. So
I think it's pretty close to perfect, buddy. I think it looks amazing.
I just wish they had like regular trials where they would just switch it to like the witness when it was there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Otherwise, 1,000 times better than
for sure. I think the podium is behind our two logos here.
It is.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the sound is way, way better though. You know what I mean? It's like night and day. So
absolutely.
I'm cool with it.
So let's go, folks. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Both. I'll note the parties are all present after the lunch recess, as well as the jurors are all present and properly seated, and the defendant and counsel. Mr. Wixom, I believe you were still in direct examination.
I was, Your Honor.
You can continue with your direct.
Thank you. Lieutenant Powell, I think we left off at your surveillance at Cafe Rio.
Yes.
I want to take you back now to the Gilbert phone call about Tammy Daybell's death.
Yes.
With respect to whatever was discussed there, did that cause you to feel like you needed to investigate Tammy's death?
Yes.
Why?
Because of the ties with Lori and Alex Cox and the attempted shooting, and then reviewing the report.
Which report?
The one the deputy wrote from first on scene.
What about that report caused you to feel like you should reinvestigate?
Chad said that Tammy didn't.
Into the microphone, please, Mr. Pryor.
Come on,
Judge, I'm going to object. There hasn't been proper foundation. I don't know what report he's talking about. Who did it? What did it? When?
I'll sustain that in terms of general reference to a report.
Thank you, Your Honor. And to be clear for counsel, this is the stipulated Exhibit 70 that was stipulated to. It's the report.
Exhibit what, counsel?
70. Well, it's the stipulation number 70. It's that report.
Mr. Wixom, has that been admitted formally in the trial yet?
I intend to, but I haven't yet. I can stop now and do so.
I guess that'll make the most sense since we've referenced the exhibit. I want to make sure it comes in before it's referred to.
Certainly, Your Honor. Thank you. May I have just a second, please?
You may.
And Judge, that would have saved an objection if I had known.
I understand.
Did anybody figure out what Muppet he sounds like? Anybody figure it out?
I think Mandy said he sounds kind of like Patrick Mahomes. I think that's what Mandy's.
He does have a little Patty Mahomes, but listen, Mandy, Patrick Mahomes isn't a Muppet. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out on my own.
You know, at this time, I'd like to hand up to the court, after defense counsel reviews it, a copy of the report from Deputy Allison Greenhall.
And it's reference 70. Is that the actual exhibit number for?
Judge, that's the itemized number on the stipulation, as I recall. The state's proposed exhibit number is 418.
418.
Yes, sir.
All right. Would you please mark the exhibit then as 418 that you propose to
It's,
offer?
Certainly, Your Honor.
This is Officer Powell's report, not Officer Greenhall's report. That's what he meant to give me. So, you.
Some folks are saying Kermit, which is essentially Pat Mahomes.
It's
Some
got a
folks-
little Kermit, definitely a lot of little Kermit.
Cat Toes says a very calm Bert.
Hey, Bert. Hey, Bert.
Thank you.
Ernie. Hey, Bert.
Fancy Drew says Bert before he goes off the rails.
I mean, all of those sound kind of right. I can't say any of those. I mean, because Bert and Kermit don't sound too dissimilar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've got a little bit of the same vibe. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same voice dude that's doing both those guys. Hey, Bert. Hey, Bert.
By the way, this is the first time I'm noticing that Chad has a fucking computer. He's allowed to use his little computer there.
Yeah. Oh, I
All
meant
right.
to
The
read,
state or state's proposed exhibit.
Go ahead.
when we get a natural little break, Lori, the wonderful Lori Hellas sent us a little in-court straight dope inside baseball
Nice.
text. So when we get a little break, I'll tell you what her observations were.
Awesome.
Exhibit 418. It apparently is referenced in the stipulated exhibit list, but is there any objection to the introduction of state's exhibit 418?
No, Judge.
All right. Exhibit 418 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I ask to have that handed to the witness, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Lieutenant Powell, you were telling the jury what were some of the reasons that caused you to have concern to reopen the Tammy
I like where
Daybell
her head's at,
death
Joanne.
investigation.
He's even
Chad
got a little
tells
bit of
Deputy
the,
Greenhall that Tamara
Swedish
didn't
chef.
have any serious medical conditions.
Let me stop you there. If you're going to refer to the exhibit to refresh your recollection, I'm going to ask the court permission to allow you to do so, but you probably shouldn't read from that.
Oh,
Is that, Your Honor, may he have permission to refresh from the exhibit?
Well, it's actually an admitted exhibit, so
Well, if he's got permission to read it, then we'll
Snuffle.
continue on.
you can ask your question.
would
but
Sesame
once
Street.
it's a admitted exhibit,
Aren't ya?
the jury will have that.
Dumbo.
Thank you. So go ahead then, Lieutenant Powell.
he tells Deputy Greenhall that Tamara don't have any serious medical conditions, and that she don't go to the doctor often.
Anything else in there that caused you to decide to investigate further?
Last time she was at the doctor was 2 months ago for an arm injury.
Okay. So upon reviewing that, considering the other information, what steps did you take to then investigate Tammy's death?
Ran a controlled substance. It's called PMP, Prescription Monitoring Program, where you can run a name and they'll tell you if they're on any controlled substance medications that are controlled.
Is that a law enforcement program?
Yes,
Okay. What did you find from that?
she was prescribed tramadol.
Anything else from that report?
Not from that report, no.
So what did you do next?
Got with the prosecutor and got a search warrant for Walmart pharmacy.
Why Walmart Pharmacy?
That's where it was picked up.
What did you find as a result of the search warrant from Walmart Pharmacy?
She was prescribed fluoxetine and tramadol.
And what did you do next?
She was prescribed fluoxetine from Seasons Medical and tramadol from Teton Medical. So I got search warrants for those two medical records.
Did you get records from both those entities?
Yes, I did.
At this time, the state would offer its proposed Exhibit 38 that likewise was stipulated to for admission, which for the record are the records of Teton Medical.
And Judge, for the record, my exhibit number 21 should mirror their exhibit number 38. If there is any differences, I'll move for mine as well. But my 21 was stipulated as well as their 38. So there is duplication there.
Okay, and to the extent it's the same exhibit, let's make sure it just gets admitted once, but what's now marked and offered as states 38, I'll have the defense review that and ask if there's any objection.
Ooh, C. Holly came in with a Fozzie bear.
I saw that.
That's what I was saying, Fancy Drew, the Swedish chef guy. He's definitely got, maybe he's an amalgam, much like my Russian accent in season 2 of Garcia.
Thank you.
The amalgam.
As to
Amalgam up
propose 38, any objection from the defense?
No, Judge.
All right. Exhibit 38 has been offered and is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I have permission to publish Exhibit 38?
You may, the copy I've got, counsel, is essentially illegible on the second page.
Judge, if I could suggest,
Third page, I would say it's actually 3 pages.
Judge, if I could suggest my 21, you might find that to be a little more legible, but counsel, if you would like to take a look.
Let me sidebar with counsel because there's a photocopy so light that it's illegible.
All right, Bob,
sidebar.
you want to hit us with the straight dope you got?
Oh, I
Really
love
solid.
that. Dude, you crush that. Why'd you have to crush a game like that? Yeah. Looks great, dude.
No, Bob. I said, I said, do you want to hit us with the straight dope, Lori dope?
I thought you were talking about that fantastic.
Oh.
Yes, I do. This is a perfect time while they're sidebarring. All right. So, as you all know, or maybe you don't know, Jay did have attorney, author, Lori Helleson. What was that? A few weeks ago, Jay? A month
Yeah,
ago?
I think, yeah, 2 weeks ago. I'll share her Twitter in here while you're telling everybody.
Okay, and she is boots on the ground, and she's been kind enough to tell Jay and I that she'd like to give us, or if we wanted to hear him, inside baseball stuff. So she said, "Hi, Bob and Jay, full courtroom. Chad is wearing blue check shirt and a yellow tie," which is good because I can kind of see that, but not really. The jury is 10 men and 8 women, mostly in their 40s and 50s. One man with white hair, appears to be in his 70s. Chad has a laptop in front of him, is scrolling through something. There's a motion that was just filed, but before the trial started, that has not been heard yet. I just noticed it's going to be heard on Thursday. The judge sealed the motion. What else is new? But it's a motion for a third party to intervene. The guy who filed it is this guy, and he appears to be the 2023 James J. May Trial Lawyer of the Year. And his name is Terry S. Ratliff. And he spent his early years near Baltimore, Maryland, and rural West Virginia. Did a whole bunch of stuff down there, all kinds of things. Clerked for the Honorable Judge Blaine Anderson before working as associate for another judge. He is certified as an Idaho death penalty defense attorney and has tried over 115 jury trials. Terry has been a member of ITLA since 1993 and an Eagle member since 2020. So pretty highly skilled, highly experienced attorney. She goes on to say, no one is quite sure why, but he's filed a motion to intervene and postpone the trial. It's weird. If he were filing to be added to Chad's defense team, he would not be filing to intervene as a third party. I asked, is it relating to the motion to show cause? It was filed on Friday. She said, I think so. I think that's the motion that's set to be heard on Thursday. The video footage of Chad that we all saw with his daughter speaking to him while he was in the squad was new, which it was. That they did not use that during Lori's trial. And she noted that John Pryor is making a few points, very different than Lori's trial. I said very different. Pryor is actually trying the case, unlike the two lawyers that were handling Lori's thing. So that's our first inside baseball, behind the scenes, straight dope, Lori Hellis, kind of little text.
Yeah, folks.
Update for us.
I shared it. So she is at LORIHELLIS. Give her a follow. She's 20 away from 7,000. She's given us, like Bob said, the straight dope. Give her a follow. Let her know
She's
we
awesome.
sent you. She's awesome. We can get hopefully maybe we'll have her on coming up. I know she said she would do that. So we got boots on the ground, folks. Boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground.
All right, counsel, I've reviewed the admitted exhibit. However, it's again not very legible in terms of how it was photocopied, but there is a better version of it that was likewise submitted by the defense. So upon suggestion in the sidebar, the court will permit a substitute exhibit. So what was previously admitted 38 will not be admitted, and we'll have that referenced by the defense exhibit, which is the same document in a more legible copy. So what is the exhibit number, Mr. Pryor, that would replace our exhibit 38?
Your Honor, Teton Medical Group records would be defense exhibit number 21.
Okay.
And Seasons medical records, which I think counsel's moving towards, it will be exhibit number 22. And my understanding, Judge, is that we've previously agreed that exhibit number 20 by stipulation is admitted as well, and I'll move for all three of those at this point.
Okay, the defense has moved then for those exhibits 21, 22, and 20. Mr. Wixom, any objection from the state?
No, we have no objection, Your Honor. We agree to the same exhibits, just with a more clear copy. Yes.
Okay, then those will be admitted. And to be clear then, for the record, exhibit 38 is no longer admitted as part of the record, being substituted by the more clear version. So you can proceed, Mr. Wixom. Just reference the exhibit number with those new defense numbers when you are referencing them with the witness, please.
Will be, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay.
Your Honor, may I have permission to publish exhibit number 21?
Yes.
Lieutenant Powell, what is it that you see on the screen?
The medical records from Teton Medical Group.
And can we explain to the jury, in your role as a lieutenant in terms of helping subordinates deal with unattended deaths, is it typical for you to get medical records and look at them?
Yes.
And you're by no means a doctor, correct?
No.
But you do review them to see if you can discern anything about the subject's health?
Yes.
What did you see in this Teton medical record about Tammy Daybell's health?
The past medical history was just anxiety, depression, and anemia. Other than that, everything appeared to be normal.
So when you, when you sought a warrant for these particular records, how many years time span did you ask for?
2 years?
Was this the only record that was returned?
Yes.
What's the date on that record?
9/6 of 2019.
Does that indicate anything to you about Tammy's health status?
She was healthy at the time that she was at that doctor.
What about the fact that this is the only record? Does that tell you anything about her health status?
It appears she's healthy.
Your Honor, may I now have permission to publish the exhibit number 22?
Yes.
And please just refresh for the jury, who was the second provider that you sought records from under the warrant?
Seasons Medical.
And I want to call your attention to the screen again. What is that you see?
The medical records for Tammy from Seasons Medical.
And in fact, when you sought these records pursuant to a warrant, what time span did you look for?
2 years.
And were there any other records besides this?
No, there was not.
What's the date on this record?
10/6 of 2015.
What, if anything, did you discern from these records?
He was being seen for depression.
Anything else?
No.
What did that do to, how did that impact your decision how to go further to investigate in any way?
Yes.
In what way did it impact?
She appeared to be healthy, so I got with the prosecutors and got a warrant for exhumation.
Can you explain what the exhumation process is to the jury, please?
She was buried in Springfield, Utah, so had to get with the court in Utah, got a warrant to exhume her and that dig her up and take her to have an autopsy done.
And that order was issued?
Yes, it was.
And did you attend that exhumation process?
Yes.
Your Honor, may we approach it this time?
Yes.
Another approachal. Folks, again, if you're coming in, you didn't come in this morning, again, Karen Reed is off today. Jury selection starts tomorrow. Could take a week to 2 weeks. So, but me and Bob will be covering it once it starts.
Yes, we will. And we will also be doing a primer for those of you not familiar with the case. It's a wild one. It's one of the two cases out there where both the state's theory of the case and the defense's theory of the case have been floating around in the public and have created the Wild West out here in the social media world. So it'll be interesting. I'm thrilled that it's going to trial so we can quit listening to the noise and hear the facts and see the evidence. It's always exciting, Jay.
Yeah, for sure. Especially because like I can't even I couldn't even.
Your Honor, at this time,
I'm just gonna pause it real quick. I tweeted one tweet with the hashtag Karen Reed, and my tweet was like, "I'm not fighting with you," and like 10 people fought in the like. You can't you can't even just. And it wasn't even like I had a stance about the case. It was like, should I cover it or something? And like people are in their camps, they are ready to fight. But me and Bob are gonna take it, like you said, objectively, watch the evidence how it comes, and then decide there.
It's the only way you can do it. Can't do it any other way. Otherwise, it's bullshit.
Yep.
State would offer up to the court what we believe is a stipulated state's exhibit 37A through 37H. We've got 2 copies for the court.
And Judge, these were by stipulation of the parties as well as other photos that will be published at a later time by way of stipulation.
All right. I'll take a quick review of them.
Judge, for the record, my exhibits in that regard will be item number 23, 23A, 23B, 23A through D. You'll be my corresponding, and if there's any that aren't presented.
Okay, once you get there, Mr. Pryor, I'll have you offer them individually so we keep track of the exhibits. Exhibits 37A through H have been offered, and I understand either by stipulation or no objection, the defense has no objection to these being admitted. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, exhibits 37A through H, all individually are each admitted. And Mr. Wixom, you can continue.
Thank you. Your Honor, may I have permission to publish various parts of this exhibit?
Yes.
Thank you. Lieutenant Powell, I think we had left off with you explaining why you were going to do the exhumation. Could you please explain to the jury what's that process as far as law enforcement is concerned?
Go and observe and make sure that nothing was tampered with.
And what kinds of things do you look for tampering?
Any marks on the casket, and the cement vault and things like that.
And why do you look for tampering?
To make sure I can say that nothing was tampered with and to obscure the autopsy.
So is it safe to say that you were at the graveside when her body was literally pulled from the ground, or her casket was pulled from the ground?
Yes.
And you observed all that?
Yes.
Now, did you personally take photos of that process?
No.
But you were present the whole time?
Yes.
And you've seen the photos that were taken?
Yes.
And they've been admitted, but the photos, you'll be able to say if they were accurate depictions of what was happening?
Yes.
Now, if I may now publish.
Yes.
Lieutenant, can you please just explain to the jury, what are we looking at?
The backhoe getting ready to start digging the grave out.
And this is Ms. Daybell's grave.
Yes.
And where is this again?
Springfield, Utah.
Now I call your attention to what's been marked as 37B. What's that?
The backhoe digging the grave.
37C.
Them lifting the cement vault out of the grave.
37D.
The cement vault.
37E.
The lid taken off the cement vault and the casket.
37F.
The inside of the cement vault.
And I'll stop there.
Cement.
Cement.
In the course of your observation of this part of the exhumation, did you see any tampering?
No.
What did you look at?
The edges, and then you've seen all the roses and stuff still on top of the casket.
Did you examine the casket as well?
Yes.
Did you see any indication of tampering there?
No.
And then once the coffin was removed from the vault, what happened with the coffin?
It was loaded and taken to the medical examiner's office in Utah.
And this 37, all right, G, is that a picture of the loading of the coffin?
Yes.
Now, you said that coffin was taken to an ME, to a medical examiner.
Yes.
Did you ride in the hearse at that time?
No, I followed it.
Did the hearse and the coffin stay within your line of sight all the way to the MEs?
Yes.
And in fact, did you go inside when they put the casket in?
Yes.
Did you observe the autopsy?
Yes.
And so therefore, did you also observe the removal of Tammy's body from the casket?
Yes.
And what do we see here, Lieutenant?
Tammy Daybell's body.
Okay.
All right. I did not expect them to show that. They did. This is your chance for a trigger warning, Bob. They just showed Tammy Daybell. So just giving you guys, I know
Oh boy.
So just I don't know if they did that on purpose. Sometimes they show stuff, sometimes they don't, folks. So as we always say, if you need a mental health break, please take it. If this is not for you, we'll come back. It's nice out, go outside, but I did not anticipate that. So sorry for not saying it before, but just giving you a heads up if you missed it. They are showing right now her in the casket. So
Wow.
just a heads up. Take care of your mental health, folks.
Oh yeah.
Did you, at that point in time, look for potential tampering?
Yes.
Did you observe anything?
No.
And was Tammy's clothing eventually removed from her?
Yes.
And did you have an opportunity to view her body before the autopsy began?
Yes.
And did you see any signs of tampering at all?
No.
Lieutenant, once the exhumation was completed, did you do anything personally that furthered the investigation?
I assisted with the search warrant on January 3rd.
And what search warrant was that?
202 North, 1900 East at the Daybell residence.
And, excuse me, what was the purpose of that warrant?
They was looking for electronics, and other things in regards to Tammy's.
And your role in that search?
I was there helping search, and when something was found, the FBI ERT team would come photograph it and process it.
And then how were you involved at that point?
After we was all done and the FBI had processed everything, they turned it over to myself and Detective Mattingly. We loaded them in our vehicles and transported it to the Fremont County Sheriff's Office.
Was that the end of your involvement?
Yes.
At some point, was this further investigation of Tammy's death turned over to someone else in the Fremont County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, the detectives.
And why was that?
Just I had other things they wanted me to be doing and wanted it turned over to detectives.
And to be clear, as a lieutenant, how many subordinates do you supervise?
Approximately 24. Oh, no, it'd be probably about 27.
And would that include patrol officers as well as detectives?
Yes.
Is that part of the reason why you as a lieutenant would then just assign the case to a detective?
Yes.
From that point forward, did you have any other involvement in Tammy's death investigation?
No.
I may have just a moment, please.
Yes.
All right, this is probably where he checks with his counsel. Did he miss anything? Let's see.
At this time, I don't have any further questions for direct. I did want to inquire if the two exhibits that I had been turned back into the court. I see the marshal shaking his head yes.
Yes, we do have those.
Okay, thank you.
All
All
right,
right, Mr. Pryor, you can
Judge,
cross.
thank you.
cross-examination. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Yeah, we love
Once
you
you're
guys.
set up, Mr. Pryor, in order to maybe make things a little more efficient with your proposed exhibits, I'd like a brief sidebar with counsel before you start cross, just to discuss
Sidebar.
exhibits you've mentioned.
So while they go to sidebar, Bob, what do you think that's about? That motion for this attorney that we've never heard of?
I don't know, man. I agree with Lori that if the guy was just entering his appearance, he certainly would not need to be asking for the trial to be delayed or stopped. Because Dizzy had sent me on Friday, she had sent me a motion that was filed, and it was different. It was it looked to be something relating to a rule to show cause, so which didn't really make much sense to me. So I wasn't clear on what the hell it was, but I mean, typically a rule to show cause relates to contempt of court. That's typically what you're.
All right, counsel, thanks for the sidebar on that.
I don't know.
Also,
Jay.
just pointed out to
Interesting
the
to find
court,
out.
before the state concluded direct, we did have admitted, not actually given to the court, Exhibit 20, which I think is a death certificate, and we need to get that to the bailiff for entry into the court record.
This bailiff, man, he's getting his steps in, folks.
With your cross-examination, then, Mr. Pryor.
So you've, officer, you've spent 22 years with the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, is that right?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Pryor, but can you speak into the microphone, please?
And I've been warned about this, Judge.
Thank you.
Sorry. School. You spent 22 years with the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, is that right?
Yes.
And the last 4.5 years have been as a detective, is that correct?
I'm a lieutenant now.
I'm sorry, lieutenant. 4.5 years as a lieutenant?
No, about 7 years lieutenant. I was 4.5 years detective.
Okay, that's what I thought I said. And then 7 years as a lieutenant?
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't get on the street and do patrol or anything like that, is that right?
I do cover shifts, yes.
Okay. And are you equipped with a camera in your automobile?
No.
Are you equipped with a body cam?
No.
That's not standard issue for you folks?
Not for me. I do not have one, no.
Are there occasions when you feel that you need to have a body cam or a recorder?
Yeah, there's possibly some, yeah.
Okay, and would one of those be when you're interviewing witnesses or taking statements from people?
Yes.
And the purpose of that is to make sure that you get the statement accurately. Would you agree with me?
Yeah.
But there's also an aspect of that when you have a recorder or a body cam, there's no likelihood that what someone says to you could be misinterpreted. Would you agree with that?
Will you repeat that one more time?
Well, if you have a body cam or a recorder and you're interviewing someone about an important topic, well, like this case, when you interview witnesses, you want to get the facts right from what they said, correct?
Yes.
And it's important that you get the facts right when they tell you things, right?
Yes.
And it's also important that it's a tool that you use to ensure that everybody's playing on the same page. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so it's generally a very good idea to use a recorder or a body cam when you're dealing with subjects or people that where there's serious consequences, correct?
Yes.
And in this particular case, this is a serious case, right?
Yes.
You've never been involved in as much of a serious case as you've been in this case, correct?
No.
Most serious case you've been involved in 22 years, right?
Yes.
So I would assume you took precautions that when you interviewed witnesses, you took the necessary step to make sure that you had a recorder with you. Is that right?
Yeah. Try to, yes.
Okay, try to. Okay. Now you received a call from the Gilbert Police Department, right? About this case with Tammy Daybell, correct?
Yes.
And I read your report, and I think you accurately reflected what they were talking to you about. Lori Vallow and Alex Cox were involved in an attempted shooting of Brandon Boudreaux. Is that right?
Yes.
And Chad Daybell was not implicated in that, correct?
No.
Right. But he was someone of interest because he had been hanging around Lori Vallow.
He was a known associate.
Known associate, but there was no implication that he had any involvement in the shooting of Brandon Boudreaux, right?
No.
That was Alex Cox and that was Lori Vallow. And when did that shooting take place?
I don't recall a date.
What year?
Would have been 2019.
Okay. Okay. You don't recall the month, right?
I received the call in October.
Okay. So at this point, your investigation was centered around the fact that Lori Vallow and Alex Cox knew Chad Daybell somehow, right?
Yes.
And as part of your surveillance, you were able to establish that in November, right?
November 1st.
Okay, of 2019. At that point, you were able to establish that there was some sort of a relationship between Lori and Chad, right?
Yes,
And that was after Tammy's death, right?
yes,
So really, if two people who are not married are going to a Hobby Lobby to pick up whatever they're picking up, that's not really suspicious, is it?
Crafts.
it depends, I guess.
Oh,
It ain't suspicious, no.
well, you said depends. I want to know what's suspicious about two people who are single going to a Hobby Lobby. Why don't you tell me what that is?
Well, it ain't suspicious, no.
Okay. And then going out to eat at a restaurant. There's nothing suspicious about two people who are single going to a restaurant to have something to eat. Is that right?
Right,
And there's nothing suspicious about Lori Vallow going over to Chad's house and being there for a short period of time. There's nothing suspicious about that, right?
no.
Sounds like a
Okay.
storm session, Jay.
Oh, gross, Bob. How dare you?
The storm.
So I'm
By the way, Bob, real quick, I got a PayPal from Julia who says, "Tell Bob I know his Aunt Denise." So I don't know if you have an Aunt Denise, but Julia Gulia knows her.
having some
I love
difficulty
that.
here.
I do have an Aunt Denise. It's my mom's sister. I just
And the
saw
difficulty
her
I'm having
weekends ago.
is that
Hey, Julia.
you get a call from the Gilbert police suggesting that Chad Daybell knows Alex and Lori, right?
Yes,
And based on the fact that they know them, you get an order from a judge to dig up Tammy Daybell. Right?
with the medical records and everything, yes.
Okay. With the medical records and what's the everything?
Chad saying that she had no medical issues.
Okay. All right. Judge, could I have Judge, could I have exhibit number 21, please?
Yes.
Julia says, "Bob, your Aunt Denise was her boss at Harris Bank / BMO."
Julia, were you in risk
Please bear
management?
with
I
me,
know
Judge. I'm sorry.
Denise, my aunt,
it
was
might take
a
me 2 seconds to get this
bigwig
brought up.
in risk
That's fine.
management.
And before it comes up or is published.
Thank you,
make sure,
Lisa,
number
who
one,
it
we know
reads
what
the
it is.
emoji.
Number
It
two, it's
says
admitted.
$8 Australian dollars. Sheba dog saying, "Hey, you," greeting joyfully.
Aw,
I love that it reads it. Thank you
that's
so
so
much, Lisa.
sweet. That's so
You're
sweet.
awesome. She's in the future, folks. She's in the future. I think it's Tuesday where she is right now. She may be boxing a
And
kangaroo.
officer,
I don't know.
it's previously been
Oh, she
admitted.
is. I want to see video
Teton
immediately.
medical records. That's the medical records you subpoenaed, correct?
Yes,
All right. And 21 is already admitted. So
It is, Judge, and I'm going to go through 20, 21, and 22.
all right. Thanks for clarifying. Those are all admitted. So you can publish without permission, Mr. Pryor, if you'd like.
So I'm at the top of Teton medical record, and what I'm looking at on the left-hand side of the left.
Pryor has gone from not remembering to use the mic to actually putting it in his mouth as he
letter
said.
where it says past medical history, right?
I think it's actually like
Okay, and the
tucked
first thing
between
at the very
his
top is
cheek
anemia.
and his teeth. He's
Right?
got it in there. This
Yes.
witness.
Did you
sounds like
research
the
what
same
anemia
thing.
is?
He's got a
no, I
kind
did
of
not.
a.
Did you
mouthful
research what
caca
the
type sound to him,
medical
too.
conditions and what people experience as a result of being diagnosed with anemia?
No, I did not.
Did you research and look into the fact that anemia can have life-threatening consequences?
Sorry, Judge, the counsel is testifying.
Well, it's cross-examination, and I don't know what that objection is, Mr. Richmond. What's the basis?
Yeah, that's not a real objection.
Judge, he's describing how serious anemia is, and this witness has never spoken to that issue.
How do
So
you
counsel is trying to testify as to how serious anemia is. It's a medical condition. This witness was freely admitting that he's.
I don't want a speaking objection. I'll sustain the objection on assumes facts not in evidence.
Okay. And let's move down the list. The next one is anxiety, right?
Yes,
Okay. And then the one down below that is depression, right?
A $10 super chat from Amy. Thank you so much. Bob, don't say storm sesh again. I bursted out laughing at work in a quiet office.
Oh,
Thank you
boy.
so much, Amy.
Oh boy, sorry, Amy.
Yes,
And Tammy Daybell was taking medication. She was taking Prozac, which is fluoxetine. Is that right?
fluoxetine, yeah.
Fluoxetine. Correct. And she was also taking tramadol, right?
She was prescribed tramadol, yes.
Right. And what's the tramadol for?
Pain,
Okay. So she was in some discomfort of some kind.
yes.
Okay. And then we go down below where it says family history. And would you read the 4 lines under what Tammy's family suffers as a result of family history, please?
Mother suffers with cancer and thyroid issues. Father suffers with depression and heart disease.
Okay, thank you. And Judge, that's all I have for 21. Judge, could I be handed exhibit number 20?
Yes.
Thank you. Parties. And Judge, again, this has been previously admitted by stipulation of the parties.
It is admitted, yes.
Now, did you take the time to look at Tammy Daybell's death certificate?
No, I did not.
You didn't consider that.
No,
So you looked at some medical records and said she has anemia and she's on Prozac. And you looked at Officer Greenall's report, right?
yes,
But you didn't look at any death certificate.
no,
Did you read Brenda Dye's report?
no, I did not.
Did you read Officer Greenall's report?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so when you took consideration of why you dug up Tammy Daybell, and by the way, just before we get there, Tammy Daybell's children were never notified that you were digging their mother out of the ground, were you?
No, there was not.
Exhuming the
So
bodies.
her own children were not advised that.
Overruled.
So her own family were never advised that you're digging their mother out of the ground without letting them know in any shape, form, or
Fashion.
or opportunity to respond. Is that right?
Yes,
I'd like you to look at the certificate of death, and I'm going to point down to where it says the cause of death. Do you see my arrow down there?
yes.
Okay. And the cause of death, they list 2 things on the cause of death for Tammy Daybell's death. And would you read those out loud, what those 2 are?
Cardiac event and pulmonary edema.
Okay. Heart issues, right?
Yes,
And you saw that in the medical history of Tammy Daybell, her father had a history of heart disease, right?
yes,
So you didn't take that into consideration when you decided to dig Tammy up out of the ground, right?
no, I'd never seen this before.
You never looked at it.
No,
You never talked to anybody about what the death certificate said before you decided to have her dug up, right?
correct.
And you went in front of a judge and you put on testimony to justify digging her up out of the ground, and you didn't even as once look at the certificate of death, did you?
No,
I mean, this is something that should have been argued
Judge,
prior to
counsel
trial.
previously,
What's that about?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like it's kind of like the equivalent to like a Frank's hearing type issue where, obviously they had to get a court order, and which was granted by this judge he's talking about, and apparently, and I don't know if this cop had the final say so in terms of we're going to exhume the body. Pryor's making it sound like he was kind of the guy that was making the decision. I'm assuming there had to be somebody above this guy. I mean, no offense to this guy, but he doesn't sound like the sharpest tool in the shed. But, as far as, him not even looking at the death certificate to see what the cause of death is, when you're going in front of a judge to give probable cause as to why she should be exhumed, it seems like that would be information that you'd want to know, like what they were saying the cause of death was. So, but I'm a little confused as to whether or not this was actually litigated prior to trial, in terms of keeping this out. But let's see what happens with it. Oh, by the way, pause it one more second. We got Dizzy gave us an update, Jay. The state has filed a motion in limine to stop the defense from calling Wood to testify. And Wood apparently is, and that motion is sealed, but there's a hearing for it at 3:30 p.m. Idaho time today. All right, so we can look forward to that. That motion's going to be coming forward.
All right, cool. Thank you, Dizzy.
Yep.
Discussed Officer Greenall's report, and for the life of me, I don't see the exhibit number on that, but it was admitted to them.
What is it?
I believe it was 418.
41A.
418.
Still sitting right here, Your Honor.
Oh, 418 still up on the,
And Judge, could I have the bailiff take back exhibit number 20
yes.
and exchange it with me with the,
And yeah, 418 was still up there. So
okay. Okay, so can you see that report?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the second.
Mr. Pryor, I need to have you talk into the microphone.
The second paragraph talks about how Tammy was found by her husband. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like you to read, starting with the second paragraph to the end where it talks to 911. If you would read that loud so that everybody can hear that, please.
He called for his son to come help put Tamara back onto the bed.
No, I'm talking about where the words start with the deceased. I'm sorry, up here where it says the deceased. That's where I'd like you to start.
You want me to read the whole paragraph?
The whole paragraph, if you would, please.
Okay. This deceased, Tamara M. Daybell, was found by her husband, Chad G. Daybell. Chad told me Tamara had been sick and had a severe coughing fit at approximately 00 hours. During this fit, she vomited, then she returned to bed and she said she was fine. At approximately 5:40 hours, Chad felt the blanket slide off the bed and woke up to see Tamara had partially fallen off the bed. Chad told her to get up, and when she didn't answer, he turned on the lights and found that she was deceased. She had partially fallen off the bed, her head was touching the floor, and her feet were still on the bed. Chad said she was cold and stiff. He called for his son to come help put Tamara back onto the bed. Chad then called 911.
Okay. So when you talk about a lack of medical conditions, did you read this report before you went to judge and get an order digging Tamara Daybell up out of the ground?
Yes.
Okay, so did you happen to notify the judge that Tamara was having fits the night before, she was vomiting and was sick and was generally not doing well? Did you mention that to the judge?
No.
Okay. All right, so we'll move on to the second paragraph now. And if you would read the second paragraph, starting with Chad said Tamara.
Chad said Tamara didn't have any serious medical conditions. She was taking fluoxetine for depression, but did not have any other prescriptions. Chad said the last time she was at the doctor was approximately 2 months ago when she had fallen in the driveway and injured her arm. The doctor had given her steroid shots and she was not having further issues. Chad said she had been feeling sick with something like a cold lately and that she would have gone to the doctor today. Chad said she has low blood pressure and faints occasionally. Chad said that she has been going through menopause and also has been having aches and back pain for approximately 2 weeks and that she was going to visit the chiropractor soon. Chad said she didn't go to the doctor often because she didn't like doctors.
And you were aware of that based on the research of her medical records, that Tammy Daybell didn't like to go to the doctor, did she?
Yeah,
Right. And you were aware that Tammy Daybell would use herbal medicine and oils and other medications in lieu of going to the doctor to try to cure herself in other ways, untraditional ways, right?
that's what the report said, yes.
Right. So instead of going to the doctor for fainting spells and for these other things that were going on, she would take supplements and do things like that, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then I'll go back down. And the next one talks about Chad showing all of the over-the-counter medications she takes. He said she's taken approximately 10 bottles on the tablet every morning that she takes to help her. Okay? And then read the last line where it says most. In that paragraph I just read, where the last sentence says most of what was.
Most of what was in the cupboard.
Mr. Pryor, you turn that sideways so you can't read.
Sorry, that makes it tough, doesn't it? I was
Okay.
trying to pull one on you, apparently. Go ahead.
Most of what was in the cupboard was essential oils and natural remedies and some pain medications.
Okay. So it looks like the list below talks about the Prozac, acetaminophen, ibuprofen, whatever vitality extracts are, but at the very bottom, it says supplement, right?
Yes.
And what is that supplement for?
The supplement for bruising and sore muscles.
So for treating bruising and sore muscles, did you have any history that Tammy Daybell had a history of easily bruising?
I didn't see any, no.
Did you see anything that suggested that?
Yeah, guys, I was able to get because we have boots in the ground. I was able to see Chad's computer, and he's just typing over and over. All storm and no play makes Chad a dull boy. So that's
boy.
that's what's on his on Storm's computer.
Wow, that's amazing.
The Tammy
Little
Daybell
shining
had
reference
bruises
there.
on her body at the time she passed away?
Yes, there was some.
Yeah, and you're aware that those bruises were old bruises, right?
I don't recall.
Okay. And if Brenda Dye put in her report that they were old bruises, you would have no reason to dispute that, right?
Yeah, I have no reason. to
Okay.
dispute.
But Tammy Daybell clearly was taking medication for bruising, right?
That's what the report said. Yes.
That's what the report says, right? And we're going to try to do this, see how skilled I really am.
Okay.
But at the very bottom, it starts with the last sentence. I was later advised by the coroner, if you could read that for me.
I was later advised by the coroner that Tamara's son told her he also takes fluoxetine from the same bottle as his mother. I was also advised that Chad told the coroner that sometimes Tamara had minor shaking fits consistent with seizure activity. Tamara's daughter Emma also advised the coroner that she takes clogging classes with her mother, and her mother has seemed to slow down in her movements in the last couple months. Tamara had also been saying she felt out of her body recently.
Okay. So again, Mr. Daybell is talking to the coroner or Officer Greenall, and it talks about the fact that Tammy's having seizures and that she's having fits shaking, and that her daughter is saying that she's slowed down and she's not able to keep up and that she's been feeling out of sorts, right?
Yes.
And based on that, you didn't take that into consideration when you decided to dig up Tammy Daybell, did you?
No.
Okay. The next sentence, with I advised.
I advised the coroner of everything I had learned from my investigation, and she agreed that the death was a natural one.
I advised the coroner of everything I had learned from my investigation and agreed the death was a natural one. That's Officer Greenow, right?
Yes,
So that according to Officer Greenow, in discussing this with the coroner and with all of this information, came to the conclusion that Tammy Daybell's death was a natural one. Right?
yes,
And you didn't report that to the judge when you decided, and it's not this judge, you didn't report that to the judge when you decided to get a warrant to dig Tammy Daybell up. You didn't mention that to the judge, did you?
no,
The last sentence in that paragraph, would you read that one for me?
the coroner determined an autopsy was not necessary unless the family wanted one, which they did not.
Okay. And then the very last sentence before Officer Greenow, where it says it was,
It was determined by the coroner that the death was due to probable heart attack due to pulmonary edema.
okay. And this is a determination that was made by a coroner at the time of the what you called the unattended call of Tammy Daybell, right?
Yes,
And in talking with the folks down in Gilbert, they told you that Chad knew Lori Vallow, right?
yes,
They had no other information about the death of Tammy Daybell, did they?
no,
You had the information, and you're the one who took that information and went in front of a judge and got an order to dig Tammy Daybell up.
yes,
And you did it without telling the children that they're digging their mother out of the ground. Is that right?
yes,
And you didn't take into consideration the seizures, did you?
no,
You didn't take into consideration the shaking, did you?
no,
You didn't take into consideration the anemia, did you?
no,
You didn't take in any of the medical information other than you told the judge, there's no medical history here. That's what you told the judge, isn't it?
off the medical record, yes,
Off the medical records, right?
Yes.
You didn't look at anything else, right?
no.
You didn't look at the certificate of death that says pulmonary edema, heart issues, did you?
I did not see that, no.
You didn't see it or you didn't look?
I didn't look.
Judge, I'm done.
Pryor's giving them the business.
This
Don't be
officer
mad at
should
Pryor.
subpoena
Don't
back.
be mad at Pryor for doing
All right,
his
well,
job
you're
out there,
awesome and
kids.
direct.
I mean, he could do his job. That's fine. But when they took the Tammy out of the ground, it was because fucking Chad or his cohorts murdered her. So
I mean, like
he could have all.
still
his
got to
gun-
do his job, though.
Excuse me.
That's true. That's true. Can't argue
gotta
At
that.
the
do
time
his
that you
job,
sought
Jay.
the exhumation order,
I don't have anything.
were you aware that Chad and Lori, that
But the
Lori's
reality is
children were
that should have
missing?
been litigated before this.
No, I believe yes.
Were you aware that Chad and Lori had a quick marriage after Tammy's death?
Judge objects, it goes beyond cross.
Overruled.
You can answer that.
Will you repeat the question, please?
At the time that you did seek the exhumation order, had you become aware that Chad and Lori had had a quick marriage right after Tammy's death?
Yes,
And in fact, as to the dates, what was the date again that Tammy died?
I was notified October 19th, 2019.
And in fact, what was the date that you surveilled Chad and Tammy holding hands at Hobby Lobby?
November 1st,
That 12 days?
approximately, yeah.
Mr. Pryor asked you several questions about Allie Greenhall's report.
Yes.
Do you recall who provided the bulk of the information in that report?
Chad Daybell.
And did you ever find out prior to requesting an exhumation whether Chad Daybell wanted an autopsy?
The reporter said he did not.
Did that factor into your decision to seek an exhumation order?
Yes.
How?
Just with all the circumstances and medical records and everything.
Prior to seeking the exhumation order, had you ever heard the name Charles Vallow?
Yes.
And who is that?
Judge, this is going beyond cross.
I do agree with that at this point.
May I argue it, Judge?
Go ahead.
Judge, with the extensive cross-examination about challenging this officer's request for exhumation, I think it's not outside the cross. It's maybe another data point, but it's well within what the cross-examination
Well,
was.
I don't know if it is or not. The way it's asked, it just seems to be going into a new area. So if it's tied in somehow to the cross, then I may allow it. But for now, it's objection sustained.
Lieutenant Powell, were there other reasons that I've not asked you yet that went into your decision to seek an exhumation order?
All the deaths surrounding Lori Vallow and Alex Cox.
What were all those deaths?
Her,
Which again, we're going into an area that was not opened up.
No, I believe
I'm
this
going to
is,
object, Judge.
that's opened up. So I'll overrule the objection.
Could you please explain to the jury all the deaths, what you meant by that?
Lori Vallow's last husband had been shot by Alex Cox.
Did you understand approximately what date that had occurred?
I don't recall the date.
Was that part of the information that was relayed through Gilbert Police Department?
Yes.
So how did the fact that Lori's husband had been killed factor in to your suspicions about Tammy's death?
And well, you had the attempting shooting, the murder.
And I'm just asking you from a common sense perspective as a law enforcement officer, how was that information impacting you to decide to get an exhumation order?
Judge, calls for speculation.
I'm asking,
Give me a second.
Yeah, Pryor's going to annoy the shit out of people because this guy's
You may answer
actually
the question.
trying the
Will you repeat
case.
that?
yeah, I'm just asking from a common sense perspective for you to please explain to the jury why all of that information bolstered your thinking that you needed to seek an exhumation order.
Because of all the deaths around Lori, or Alex and Chad.
So is it safe to say that when you do any investigation, do you just follow the facts and where they lead you?
Yes.
And so despite what was in Ali Greenhall's report, did all these other facts lead you to seek the exhumation order?
Yes.
And to be clear, you were asked several questions about the death certificate
Yes.
and who issues a death certificate typically.
The coroner.
I'm just asking if you are aware of whether or not the coroner at the time of Tammy's death had all this other information about Lori and Alex and Charles Vallow.
No, she did not.
Objection, Judge. There's been no basis to establish where that knowledge comes from. Moving to strike.
Yeah, the objection did come in late, but I will sustain the objection for lack of foundation and I will strike the answer. So I'm instructing the jurors to please disregard that last answer.
In terms of your surveillance of Chad and Tammy, how long that day, let me withdraw that. Please tell the jury again, what day did you initiate your surveillance of Chad and Tammy?
November 1st, 2019.
Thinking back now, how many hours did they spend together that day?
Objection, relevance.
Again, it goes to the relation.
Thanks, Mr. Exum. Objection's overruled.
I'd say approximately 4 to 6 hours.
And were they riding in a car together?
Yes, when we surveilled them to Idaho Falls, there was.
Did you happen to notice if there were any children with them at the time?
No, there was not.
You never saw any children with them at all?
Never seen any children.
No, I have no further questions.
Judge, could I recross in the event that he brought up some things about Mr. Vallow that I would like to be able to touch on a little bit?
Very limited in scope.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Pryor, I'll allow on that.
The elusive recross.
I hate recross, Bob. I hate recross.
I know you do, Jay.
I don't get it.
I understand, my friend.
One bite at the apple. One goes, next one, done. Boom.
Officer, you made an interesting comment about Chad Daybell and Alex Cox. Are you aware that Chad Daybell is not implicated in the murder of Charles Vallow?
Yes.
Okay. Not involved, right?
Not to my knowledge, no.
And in the shooting and attempted murder of Brandon Boudreaux, same thing. Alex Cox, Lori Vallow are implicated in that crime, right?
Yes.
And Chad Daybell is not implicated in that crime. Is that right?
Not to my knowledge, no.
So this other knowledge that Mr. Wixom spoke to you about, this knowledge that somehow Chad, he must have known these people. So because he knew those people and he's not implicated in those other murder and attempted murder by Alex Cox, Chad's not implicated. How does that give you a right to dig up Tammy Daybell?
With all the association and all the deaths around it.
Oh, so because she went to Hobby Lobby with him, because she went to a restaurant, and because you surveilled them, and obviously,
Yeah, honestly, this guy I feel like could be doing a way better explanation of why. Like, he is not explaining it well.
Dude, I'm telling you, this
relationship.
cop is not a bright guy. Like,
He's not.
you can hear it. I
Like-
mean, he's not a cop anymore anyway, but like the dude's, he's not quick on his feet up there. He sounds kind of like, I don't know.
Well, that's why. That's why like the prosecutor tried to rehabilitate him, and now he's just going in and destroying.
Right.
him.
It's
Right?
like, yeah, it's tough.
Yes.
and that's the other information you use to dig her out of the ground, right?
Yes.
Judge, I have nothing else.
All right,
There you go.
That'll conclude the recross then, and not having any more redirects. So,
You're
is it correct
excused.
from the state then that this witness is likely to be recalled?
Ooh. Oof.
Judge, given today, we may well reserve the right to recall this witness. And I
Yeah,
believe
he's
he's under
like-
subpoena by the
I thought he
defense
was
as
going to
well.
say, well,
He's
in
under
light of
subpoena
that
by the defense,
testimony,
Judge.
there's no way in how we want to put this
Lieutenant
guy
Powell,
back on.
then
But
I'll admonish you that there is an exclusionary order, meaning you're not permitted to observe any trial testimony going forward while this trial is being live streamed. I'll admonish you, you're not permitted to listen to any other testimony between now and the time you may recall, and I'll ask you about that when you return to the stand. All right, thank you for your testimony.
See ya. Don't get lost on the way to the parking lot.
where am I? What's going on?
We're in with another witness and take an afternoon break
I'm gonna go
shortly.
to
and we'd
Hobby
like to do
Lobby.
that now.
Your Honor, I think looking at the time and the fact that we're moving into a new witness, the state would suggest we take the break now instead of just
What?
starting testimony and then having to take a break.
I just got
Okay.
back from lunch.
I'll shoot for about 30 minutes. And
30
be
minutes?
Back on the record after that.
These are
Thank
some
you.
break-taking mofos, man.
All right. Well, now that there's a break, I want to talk about something non-related to this because this blew my fucking mind when I found this out. First of all, recently I found out, Bob, did you know that did we talk about Monk? We talked about Monk, right?
Dude,
All right. All right.
I
So
not only wrote, but I directed and starred in Monk. So yeah.
so for the folks who didn't know, I found out last week that Leland Stoudemire from Monk.
Oh, God, it's so shocking to me that you just figured that
Well,
out.
I found something else out, Bob, and this I want to see if you know it. So, all right, first of all, if you didn't know, this is a break, folks, 30 minutes, so we're not missing anything. I
The
found out
Randy
that
Disher Project is an actual band.
that Leland Stoudemire from Monk was Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. I also found out what I didn't know was what's his name? Mia Farrow's son, Ronan Farrow. Apparently, his real dad is not Woody Allen; it's Frank Sinatra. And people put up pictures that like they look exactly alike. I did not. Did you know that, Bob?
What?
You know Ronan Farrow, Mia Farrow's son.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen like? Apparently, the rumor is that his dad is really not Woody Allen; it's Frank Sinatra.
No way.
Dude, I got and there's pictures that. All right, so
I
I'll
mean,
share.
Woody's a very distinct looking dude, man.
Oh yeah, exactly. Have you seen Ronan Farrow? I want to see if I can find. Hold on, I'll see if I can find you the picture.
I mean, Mia has very sharp features, though. You know, like
Well, you'll see when I show you
more
this.
cherubic.
Oh, look, I found my own tweet on. I only searched up the name.
Aw.
Hold on, watch this, Bob. Watch this shit. But there's something else I found out that I'm going to share. But let me just. We're trying to kill some time here, so let me. Look here. Here you go. Can you? Oh wait, I'm not on the share screen. Here we go.
Wait, what does Crime Spies think? Does Crime Spies think that I think that Chad's not guilty? That is not what I think.
So look at that, Bob.
Oh yeah.
So that was apparently a thing.
The eyes.
All right, but here's the thing
Smile.
that I want to share for you now, Bob. Did you happen? Are you familiar with Conan? Now, I'm sure you know he has his podcast, right? And there was a viral clip, and it was with the writer from SNL. His name is Jim Downey, who did you see this clip? He was talking about Jeffrey Epstein, and it went viral because Conan's talking about Jeffrey Epstein, and the guy is going. He goes, Jeff Epstein, the financier. Wait, did you see that clip? I'll see if I can find the clip. It went viral. So
I did not know. I did not see that.
Hold on, let me get that clip for you because that guy. All right, hold on a second. I'm going to show you the clip. Conan, Jim Downey clip, and it went viral because it was hilarious. Because he was joking, but he made it like he'd never heard that. I'm going to share it right now for folks who didn't see that. He made it as if he had never. All right, here it comes.
Said about Jeffrey Epstein, terrible things.
No, Jeff. I'm talking about Jeff Epstein, the New York financier.
Yes, we're talking about the same Jeff Epstein.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I never heard.
Oh, it was a big story in the news. Huge.
No.
Yes, for you to say no one ever
Jeff
said.
Epstein.
Yes.
Jeff Epstein.
Yes, the financier.
With the island.
Yes, he had an island that I've never been to. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, with respect, if there was some news about Jeff Epstein, I would have heard.
No, I don't know what rock you've been under. It was a huge story, and Jeff Epstein I have to tell you, he's gone. He's dead.
What do you mean?
He's dead.
He's dead.
He's dead.
Sorry, nice try. If Jeff Epstein were deceased, I'm pretty sure I would know about it. Now, I admit I've not, probably since the pandemic, I have not talked to him.
That would make sense. That would make sense. He's been dead for a number of years.
Yeah, I'll tell you, there's one easy way. Let's call Ghislaine Maxwell.
No, we're not calling Ghislaine Maxwell.
Why not? Okay.
She's in prison. She's in prison for crimes she committed with Jeff Epstein.
Ghislaine's in prison.
Yes. Stop calling her Ghislaine. How do you know these people?
All right, so this goes viral, right, Bob?
Who is he?
So his name is Jim Downey. He was actually Norm Macdonald. He's famous from SNL. He was Norm Macdonald's writing partner, very famous writer. But here's the thing: this went viral a while ago. Now this guy was in a movie that you and me both love. I use clips of it all the time, and it actually reminds me of. It would have been the clip I would have played after that testimony from that witness. Does anyone know who this guy is? He's a famous SNL writer, but I did not know. He's in an all-time movie that we know and love. Here you go, folks. If you did, I found this out. I hope, folks, this isn't something that everyone knew all the time already, because I'm sure you guys probably saw this. Many folks may have seen this clip. But Bob, this is the guy who that was. This man. Oh, I'm not on the right screen. This man right here. That's him. That's Jim Downey.
Oh my God.
That's
Billy
the
Madison?
same fucking person. I had no. That clip. It doesn't look like him. That is the
does
same.
not look like him, dude. Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. It's because I looked it up. Jim Downey. That is really him.
Wow.
And this guy says that
he's the guy who's like, everything that you did. Nanook, go away. Nanook's smelling my gyros meat.
May
man.
God. He says.
Salivating.
This guy says the I award you no points and may God have mercy on your soul.
Right.
Is something Downey used to really say to Chris Farley in the SNL writers' room. So like,
wow,
like that blew my mind.
Why is he so ignorant about?
No, he was doing a bit. It was just a total joke. He was like a bit. Like he was acting like that was a total bit. I'm sure he knows who Jeffrey Epstein is.
Well, no, he definitely knew, but he didn't know that he was dead.
No, I think he knew. I think the whole thing was him just fucking around.
I don't know. He was like very
No, he's an SNL writer. That was a total bit.
Yeah, but
I
he's a
think-
writer, not an actor. You look very.
I think
How was school?
Good.
Give me a hug. No. You're not sitting on my lap. I'm trying to eat lunch.
Oh, is that Scout?
Hmm.
What's up, Scout?
Say hi.
Hey,
Say
How
hi.
was school?
good.
When's the play coming up?
26th through the 28th.
Why don't you?
We
Why
have,
didn't you have rehearsal today?
We don't usually have it Mondays.
Oh, that's right. Boy, I'm surprised you
We
guys
have
are
a lot
having indoor
April.
practice today instead of outdoor. It's beautiful.
I would die if we had outdoor practice. It's so hot.
It's pretty warm. We have a
I'm
real
sweating on the bus.
like a warm front.
Yeah, it was like
Okay.
76 here. What about you guys?
Yeah, like I think it's like
80 here.
It's pretty nice.
Wait, so you got baseball practice?
Yeah.
Softball, yeah.
What time is that?
5 our time.
What
All right.
position you play, Scout? Oh, you gotta go.
No, she doesn't have to go. She has to move her arm off me so I could eat a bite of this food. Oh.
Apparently, you won't take a bite on camera.
Try not to be a pig.
I don't either. I feel weird. I'm like, I don't want people to see me. Although I will when we try the pizza. So what position are you, Scout? What position do you play?
I play second and outfield.
Nice. Now, you're a White Sox fan or a Cubs fan? White Sox?
Sox, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Who's their second baseman? Used to be Tim Anderson, no longer, right? Or he was
No,
short.
he was short. I don't know, man. Like I haven't even watched him this year because they're travesty.
Their center fielder is Robert, right? Or look at that sticker. Or Robert.
Yeah.
I don't know which one it is.
Luis Roberts.
Guys, which one do you like better? I like.
Why'd
the
you
black
turn
one
him
better.
French?
I don't
Luis
know.
Robert.
I don't know. I like the
I like
one that's
the black.
black better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me
See,
too.
we are very similar, Scott. We have
You
very
can't see
similar.
the sparklies on that
Yes,
though.
you can. But look how cool.
Where'd you get
they are.
those from?
To get in place.
We order them from
Sticker app?
Sticker mule.
Mule.
Oh, you use Mule.
Yeah.
By the way, folks, if you're coming in late, we're just on a break now. So about a half. This court likes to take breaks, and it likes to take half-hour breaks.
A lot
so.
of breaks.
We
And
do
we're supposed to
take
have that
breaks.
hearing at 3.
Well, I think that's 3:30 their time, and that's when they
Yeah.
end anyway. So I assume that they're just going to do it right after. Is what I would.
Oh.
Because it's
What do you
5.
mean? What do you mean their time?
They're in the Mountain Time. They're in Idaho.
All of them?
This particular trial.
Oh.
But the next one we cover is in Boston, Massachusetts. Well, not
Boston,
Boston.
Texas? Massachusetts?
Jake could drive down there if he got a real. if
No,
he
I
got
don't
a
need to
real-
get. I don't need to get punched in the face.
Massachusetts?
Yeah, that's
Massachusetts?
all right.
Massachusetts?
How was school?
Good.
Yeah. What'd you learn? Tell me.
Amy, there's like a motion that was made by an unknown party. Is that the one that's going to be at?
Yeah.
3:30?
Here, I'll read the. All right. Let me see. Oh, we got another little bit of a Lori Hellis update too, as well. So it sounds like. Bear with me. I'm trying to. Why is it PDF? No, just show me the. What the heck? Me. It's so weird. It keeps going into my bonfire app. I'm trying to pull this motion that Dizzy sent us. All right, so
the camera over here is 23 seconds delayed.
this one is,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I counted, but like 1, 2, 3, not 1 Mississippi. 2
23
Mississippi.
seconds. Very the chat.
It's
is?
not as delayed as my chat. Look at this. Like the last thing I got from our dual chat is at 15:17.
Oh well,
which-
I can
which
throw it on the
is-
screen. now.
15.
So I'm like 15 minutes behind on this thing. I have to like, if I Nanook, do not come near my Euros.
Boom!
Let's see. Well, this is so weird that it keeps opening my bonfire thing. I gotta go into the app. I gotta go to Discord to read this. All right. Well, so Dizzy said that Bob, the state filed a motion in limine to stop the defense from calling Wood to testify. The actual motion is sealed, but there's a hearing for it at 3:30 Idaho time.
Hey,
But
Jay,
isn't the prosecutor Wood?
Jay, where can you watch what you're streaming on?
What do you
On
mean?
YouTube. This is on YouTube. This is just our inner working stream right here.
Isn't Wood the prosecutor though? Who the hell is there
Hold
another?
on. I'm gonna go into our Discord and see what's and actually in Dizzy's Discord and see what's up.
Oh yeah, speaking of Dizzy's Discord, make sure you're subscribed to Seeking Justice for Tracy and Dizzy. Have an amazing Discord.
It's amazing.
It has all the cases you could ever imagine
Jay,
in order.
what's your podcast called?
What do you mean? I don't have a podcast.
What's your channel called?
The Shaming of Jay. And
Hey, J-Bo Nation.
and oh, you're looking up the tell me if it comes up if you type in Jay, it won't come up, but if you type in
Yeah, I typed in Jay.
shaming, it should come up.
The Shaming
Did it come up?
of Jay.
Yes, they are confirming. So why would he testify?
I don't know.
Where do I see your lives?
For some reason.
Live. Got it.
Shannon says hi, Scout. My
Dizzy, tell me
away.
in the where are the documents? Like this thing this link you sent me is not opening up. All it does is open up. It asks me if I want to download it, and then it brings me to Bonfire for some reason.
Dizzy says Woods is a prosecutor. State thinks defense will call him to force a mistrial. What the hell?
Well, there's obviously something that they think that he has to testify about. So that he's conflicted out.
Tom JR says Scout is so cool. Agreed.
She is awesome.
Look on the screens. Look on the screen, Lisa. You're so cool.
Where?
Scout is so cool.
Is this one super delayed?
No, that one's live.
No.
Oh, did you tell your coach that we're having a hard time finding your white practice jersey?
No.
Because we have to get a replacement.
Dad,
Oh man, my kids lose their clothes all the time.
I did so bad at softball.
Wait, Dana says she's in DuPage.
Dad, I did so bad at softball practice yesterday.
Why?
I bet you didn't.
I couldn't get the my teammate that I was playing catch with kept like throwing them like at the floor, like.
So you weren't making your scoops?
Yeah, like when they hit the floor and then bounce back up.
Yeah.
I kept missing them, and my coach was yelling at me, and she kept making us run for me. And then
was she telling
standing right next to
your teammate to get her throws up a little bit?
No, she's just worried about me the whole time. She's like, "You have to get them. You see all your teammates working their butt off to get this."
Did she teach you how to do better form if you weren't doing it right? Like, what's her deal?
No, she's just like, she's giving you the same throw 3 times. You should have gotten the thing by now.
Well, I don't like her tone. What's her phone number? I want to call her.
Yeah, you get her, Jay. Get her, Jay Bird. I'm not trying to get her benched by yelling at her.
You tell her my name. She'll know who I am. I'm an internet celebrity. She will.
Shay, what's a big idea here, huh? Shay. All right. Let's see. I saw somebody. See, I'm so far behind in our dual chat. I saw somebody say that they were from DuPage. All right. Not loving that.
When are we doing our pizza?
You tell me. When do you want to do it?
When should we do it, Dad?
I don't know. Whenever you want, I'll order one up.
You want to do it Friday?
From Paisanos, eh?
Dad, can we do it Friday?
Sure.
Now, here's a question. You guys are like in Chicago. Do you guys get like the deep dish when you guys get a pizza?
Jay, come on, dude. We live here. That's for tourists.
Oh, that's tourists. So what do you get?
I do like a deep dish. Like, well, I don't eat pizza anymore.
Dad, can you get a?
But I used to do it like once a year. Like my favorite spot's called Uno's.
Dad,
Uno's or Dues.
Dad, can you get a pepperoni just in case the whole pineapple thing doesn't work out?
As a backup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get half of it. Get half.
I mean, I love Hawaiian pizzas, so like I won't eat the crust, but I'll scoop the cheese and the toppings and cram it into my pie hole. So
have you ever tried like the
I love sweet and savory, Jay. It's like a thing with me.
Have you ever, like my dad is lactose intolerant, but he takes like these pills sometimes. If
Yeah,
like,
like the Lactaid guys.
Yeah, does they work or
yeah,
no?
they do. They help. I mean, it's really for the benefit of the people around me more than, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be a courteous human being.
Gotcha.
And, you know,
When's the pizza
not putting
tasting
everybody
party?
on blast,
Oh,
quite literally.
CH is asking when the pizza party is. We're thinking Friday, guys. So tune in if you want to see me and
Yes,
Jay.
tune into both Defense Diaries. Look at this promoter. Both The Shaming of Jay and Defense
Kid's
Diaries.
natural, dude.
The
Natural.
Shaming of Jay and Defense Diaries. Stream it.
Stream it. Oh, wait, I just saw the DuPage thing. Oh,
Right
Julia.
there.
Yeah, Julia Gulia.
Can you pin Julia Gulia?
I mean, are you guys
Gulia?
ever on my chat? Are you ever
Julia
following us? I mean,
Gulia.
I don't know that I've ever seen Julia Gulia. My aunt used to be her boss.
Pepperoni.
She in DuPage County. Do you guys sub to Defense Diaries?
I'm sure she is now.
I mean, I always find it crazy that, like, for both of us, that people haven't subbed to both.
Well, I think what it is, Bob, we have both like gained subs from like you get them from
True.
Delphi,
How many people
I
are
get them
watching?
from Adelson, and then like they aren't aware of our prior.
Yeah, true story. Yeah, you got a ton of Adelson folks for sure.
Wait, Dad, I have a question.
Oh, thanks, Diz. Yeah, I mean, you could talk. Just don't interrupt.
Go ahead. What's your question?
That's all.
Is that the top? Is Angie the top? Oh, no, it's all the way at the bottom, right?
So
Which
it's
one's-
the top one are the newest ones, and then
So is the bottom one Illegal Mama?
Legal Mama, not Illegal Mama.
Legal Mama.
Is that the bottom? Who's the bottom?
You can tell by the time. 15:22,
So
and
which
it's
one's-
currently 15:36.
So
Oh, look,
Where's the bottom?
Miss Dina on Kick just used your oh, it doesn't show the emoji on here. The scout emoji's on there.
Oh, I love it.
By the way, folks, we're on break. I have an eye on the feed, just waiting for court to come back. Afternoon break in the Daybell case if you're coming in late.
All right, so yeah, Diz just sent me the actual motion to seal. So, I mean, that could be a really interesting hearing. I don't know at this point, since they've impaneled a jury, what the sealing's about. Sealing it from the public. So the motion to seal is the state of Idaho puts before the court a motion to seal its motion and eliminate pursuant to blah 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 blah. The interests in privacy are predominant over the public's interest in disclosure. So yeah, they want to keep it from the public. Sealing said documents is the least restrictive measure consistent with the privacy interest at issue. And sealing these documents during the pendency of this criminal investigation is in the best interest of justice and will preserve the right to a fair trial. What the hell?
Scout, I have a question for you.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
Both your parents are lawyers. Do you ever win an argument with them?
yes.
Wow.
You do.
One time, my dad took away my phone for doing the dishes, and I started crying. so
Not
then
for
he gave
not
it
doing
back.
the dishes. For
Oh,
not
so
doing-
you won because he's a sweetheart and he didn't want to. He was empathetic. For empathy, you got to win.
Yeah, but sometimes.
right. I'm weak and worthless.
But sometimes I do win the arguments. Right,
I'll tell you
Dad?
what. She can hold her own. That's for certain.
And then my dad always yells at my mom if she tries to stand up for me.
If what?
If my dad yells at my mom, my dad yells at my mom. She tries to stand up for me.
It's not. She's like the perpetual defense attorney that Allison is. Like, I'm real big on the kids doing their chores. I think it teaches them responsibility. There's a lot of good things that come from chores, and my kids are not overly chored. Like, Scout has one chore, that's empty and fill the dishwasher.
And I
And-
don't like doing it.
You like doing it?
I don't like doing it.
Right. Well, no
He's
one likes
saying the
chores.
opposite of what I'm saying.
That's the point.
Yeah, but this is the
No
most
one likes
disgusting
chores.
one.
No one likes to go to work every day. No one likes to do that. So I mean, some
But
people
this
do.
is the most disgusting chore. You have to touch all these food that
Well,
are
that's
left
what-
in the bowl.
No, you don't.
have
You
to-
rinse it out.
Yeah, and I have to reach into the bowl that the water's filled with all the disgusting food, and I have to dump it out, and it's on my fingers. The whole time when I'm doing the dishes, my face is like this.
Yeah. Well,
Why don't you have a towel? Get a towel.
yeah, or just like fill the bowl up so that the dirty water runs out.
And then we would be wasting water so much.
That's all right. It gets recycled. They
My dad
reuse
always
it.
wastes.
For the people in the house who never turn off lights, you're like concerned
Wait.
about the water. It's unbelievable to me.
Wait.
Like no one in this
So,
house turns
wait.
off a light.
So if I'm drinking sink water, like, cause
There's a water reclamation
wait.
department, toilet,
If-
sewage
wait,
water. I'm
wait.
explaining it to you.
No, you didn't even let me finish my question.
I know what you're gonna say.
No. So at Will's house, he always drinks straight out of the sink,
Yeah.
and
Tap
half
water.
of it comes out of his mouth the other side, so it goes like. So the thing that I'm actually using to fill up my cup is from his mouth out.
No.
That's
They send it to a water.
disgusting.
No, it goes down and it goes through a water reclamation plant. So sewage water is different than drinking water,
Marin
potable
just
water.
asked if we have practice outside today.
I don't know. I'm sorry I'm eating
My
on here,
dad's
guys,
just
but
munching
my
on it.
lunch didn't.
He's like,
My lunch didn't make
he's
it.
like,
Like if Scarlett wasn't here, I'd have it off. So I was snarfing. I'm starving to death though.
Scout, you would like it at my house. I have 2 water filters. I have one that my water goes directly in. It's this like it probably does nothing, but it's this like what? It's not acidic. What's the opposite of acidic? What are they?
acidic.
Not acidic. The other thing. The other word.
The
Anyway,
opposite of acidic.
it like Averic's water filter. I think it's called.
Yeah,
alkaline. So
Alkaline.
it makes it like alkaline, and then it goes through that, and then we put it through a Brita. Probably does nothing, but
We've always had
I was
bottled
just
water.
looking
We
up-
have like the.
I was just looking up the opposite of acidic, and I was gonna be like, "Isn't it?" And then I would say it, and then everyone would be like, "Oh, you're so smart."
well, they know you're smart already.
Yeah, but they also know you don't do your chores though, too. So like there's no being with Scout. Kids have to do their chores. That's how they learn responsibility. That's how when they're out on their own. So Allison like always defends when I'm trying to, browbeat the kids into doing their chores. And I'm like, you're supposed it's supposed to be a united front on chores. That's just parenting 101. I mean, no one wants to do chores. Jay, do you like doing chores?
No, I hate chores.
Chores suck. Right.
Suck.
I mean, that's the point. Plus, she gets an allowance. All right, don't start bouncing that in here. It's already very disruptive. I just asked you not to
I'm not.
bounce it.
Don't take it.
No, it's going.
Hey,
Keep going.
By the way, folks, still on break. I don't know when
Be
this
back.
show is coming back, but we're still on break.
All right, dude. Like,
Dad.
don't step on the dog. The
I'm not
guy's right
stepping on the
there.
dog.
All right, you should start digging around, getting your stuff ready for
I already know where it
practice.
is.
Do you?
On my phone, in my
So,
car.
Scott, who's your favorite baseball player? Do you have a favorite baseball player?
Get her some gloves. Okay, this isn't like doing dishes like I had to do as a young child. This is like
Okay,
rinsing
Dad.
dishes and putting them in the dishwasher. This is like, you guys are making it sound like, you're not helping the situation, people.
They definitely are helping in my situation. But you should just give me money.
Now you need plastic gloves to rinse dishes. No, that's not happening.
I didn't see you.
I mean, I do them every day. All right, take that volleyball out of my room.
Just one.
Please, and thank you.
It's out, kind of. So, Dad, I was in my bed, and the popcorn bowl was still in my bed. And then it fell inside of my bed, but I took it all out. And
Is
the
Scout a
season went
Swifty? Turquoise
everywhere.
Kitten asked.
Who's a Swifty?
Are you a
Asking
Swifty?
if you're a Swiftie.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I wouldn't call her like fanatical. She definitely
That's not what I listen to.
she
Like,
definitely
What do you listen to?
likes Taylor
I
Swift.
listen to rap right now.
What rapper?
Drake, Kanye.
Drake. What do you think about all the beef that's been? Have you seen?
Oh,
all
yeah, the beef. The
Yeah, there's
beef
a lot of beef in the rap industry.
between.
I don't understand it, but there's a lot of it.
Isn't it with Kendrick?
Kendrick,
Yeah,
Drake,
Kendrick and Drake.
J. Cole, J. Crew. I don't know. I sound old, I know, but like,
I'm gonna tell you right
I
now.
try to keep up.
If I'm any of those dudes trying to go up against Kendrick Lamar and his brilliance, I'm taking a hard pass on that. Like none of those guys can even come close to the brilliance of like I don't know if you've ever read his lyrics, man, but
No.
Well, Kendrick is like really
they're next level.
Kendrick is really smart, but he was like kind of a while ago when he was like super famous, and now Drake's like super famous. But
Kendrick Lamar
might
is still
came back,
super famous.
but
Drake
not as famous
does not
as
have
Drake.
nearly as much talent as Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, but people don't know that. They just like him because other people like him and other people.
Drake's
like him.
Canadian. Did you know that?
Canadian?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't sound Canadian. He doesn't
I
have
think.
that accent.
I think Drake's from Canada.
Yeah, I think you're correct.
Yeah.
Court is back, not for me. Well, I guess it'll be back in a second.
Dude, I'm trying to get her on the old school, man. You know?
Eminem, man. What about Eminem? That's
I'm like, what about Tribe Called Quest? And,
and Public
Can we
Enemy.
not bring this up?
Boys
Can we
and
not bring this up?
Beastie Boys, yes.
All right, you got to
Let's
go.
not bring
Court's
this up.
starting.
Bye,
Bye. Share this tab instead. There we go.
Hey, did you? If you don't wear your Apple Watch to school, I'm literally taking it and bringing it back. Like, why are you not wearing that anymore?
I hate it.
Like, do you not like it?
I do.
Well, I keep charging it for you, and you never wear it.
Oh yeah.
Wow, look at this crystal clear view of the potato.
Whoa!
Thank you. Please be seated.
Oh,
Wow, that was
was
cool.
something.
Got a big like close up of the peanut. Look at that noggin. My God, it's huge.
This one?
All right, before we get started, I will go back on the record. We're on CR 22-21-1623, State of Idaho versus Chad Guy Daybell. We just completed the afternoon recess. I do want to remind everyone in the courtroom, there's a courtroom conduct order governing these proceedings so that they can
Someone got in trouble.
go without issue and most importantly to me, without disturbance of our jurors. And we have had an issue today with some of those attending, and they have not been permitted to return to the courtroom at this time. And so I just want to remind everyone,
Someone
it's
got in
very important that
trouble.
you do follow that. You're certainly welcome to come here and observe, but any type of behavior or conduct that starts causing any sort of interference with our jurors' ability to observe evidence in this case is just not going to be permitted. So thank you for everyone else here for following that order. And with that in mind, we can have the jurors return, please.
Someone got into trouble in the courtroom. I wonder who was not allowed back in.
I'm asking Lori who was getting sassy in the gallery.
Yeah, we gotta get the inside scoop.
If I wouldn't be surprised if it was Larry, like giving it, like Larry Woodcock.
Yeah.
Shut that, Chad Daybell's a dickhead. Kick his ass, like Larry will give him the business, man. I love the Woodcocks.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, they're amazing. It's like I was telling you, I had seen, I don't know if you saw that interview. I don't know who they did it with. It might have been with Gigi, but and it was interesting because, obviously with Lori, it was a different thing. You know what I mean? Because there's a familial relationship there, and like it was also incredibly personal and just devastating in a different way. Because you never think that your own people are going to do this kind of shit, and they're like with Chad, they just want to see this turd go down. I mean, they just want him to get flushed. So, but they don't have like the kind of like the same like emotional. It's like they're not as emotionally charged for this trial as they were for Lori's.
Right.
They just want to see justice get served, obviously. But hey, dude, did you watch have you watched that show on Prime called Fallout?
No, I actually I started, but I fell asleep. Is it good?
We liked it. I mean, it's definitely like The Last of Us, which was like next level amazing on Max. Like you watched The Last of Us, right?
I have not seen it.
What?
I don't have Bob, listen to this. I haven't even seen Curb the season.
What?
That was one of the things we cut because like we had to like
All
cut
right, thank
down.
you. Please be
I
seated.
should probably cut something else out so I can keep watching that.
Get rid of Hulu.
Yeah, we do have Hulu. See, we have
All right,
Hulu
we've
during.
concluded the mid-afternoon
I'll
recess.
just say really quick, we keep Hulu during the season just because Kansas basketball. Shout out from Kansas. So if we want to watch the basketball, but now it's the off season, we can
Yes,
DOJ
we're
Hawks.
back on the record. Parties are present, ready to proceed. The state is still in its case in chief, and I understand have another witness to call this afternoon. Will that be?
Yes, Your Honor, the state will call Nicole Heidemann.
All right, and please be mindful, counsel, we will conclude with testimony today at 3:30.
Sounds like because they got a motion to deal with.
That's that motion I was telling you about.
I wonder if but they're not going to. You think they'll stream it or it's
I don't
sealed?
know. I mean, if they're trying to seal it, I'm dying to know what it is. Fortunately, we have boots on the ground.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Unless they clear the courtroom, they could. Like anytime Allie would have something up with the R. Kelly thing, they would clear the courtroom, the gallery.
Nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Oh, Travis, are you talking about the morning drop? It's coming together nicely for our morning show. It's cool.
Great, thank you.
The booth came, Jay. It's amazing.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's cool.
Can't
It
wait
took a
to see
long
it.
time.
All right, and do I refer to you as agent?
I'm a tactical specialist.
Excuse me?
A tactical specialist?
All right,
Tactical
tactical
specialist.
specialist
Yes.
Heidemann. I just wanted to inquire, now that you're under oath, for purposes of your testimony here, the court's issued an exclusionary order, meaning I'm not permitting any witnesses in the case to previously view testimony of other witnesses. We are live streaming these proceedings, so I'm going to inquire whether or not you have reviewed or watched any of the testimony in this trial thus far.
I have not.
Very well. Thank you for answering that. Ms. Blake, if you'd like to inquire, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Will you please spell your name for the record?
Nicole, Nicole, last name Heidemann, Heideman.
Where are you currently employed?
The Federal Bureau of Investigation,
How long have you been employed with them?
almost 16 years.
What is your current title and/or position?
Tactical specialist.
Have you held other positions within the FBI?
I have.
And what are those other positions?
Prior to that, I was an evidence control technician.
At some point, as part of your employment, did you become involved in an investigation regarding some missing children in approximately 2019 or early 2020?
Yes.
Do you recall who those children were?
JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan.
As part of your job duties, were you given specific assignments with regard to that investigation?
I was.
As part of your duties, were you asked to look into evidence and data collected to determine phone attributions?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about what phone attribution is?
Yes, phone attribution or phone number attribution is an attempt to identify the likely primary user of a phone number.
And as you reviewed the data and different reports, did you also discuss the investigation with special agents, detectives, or other law enforcement officers?
Yes.
And in preparation for your testimony today, have you prepared an exhibit?
Yes,
And is that exhibit regarding phone attribution?
it is.
Is that exhibit a summary of the work that you did and the reports and phone data you reviewed?
Yes,
And would it assist in your testimony today?
it would.
And do you believe it would aid the jury in understanding as well?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask that the witness be handed State's Exhibit 186. I will indicate defense counsel has been provided a copy. I have a copy for the court, the witness, and the witness to review.
Thank you.
I would also indicate this is actually a printout of a PowerPoint. I have the jump drive that's also been marked as State's Exhibit 186 that contains the same information.
All right. So the actual exhibit will not be the printout copies. It will be the PowerPoint exhibit on a thumb drive. Is that correct?
Correct. I printed out the slides as a courtesy and to allow the witness to review them.
Very well.
Yes, sir. And do you mind just looking through those if you would? Do those appear to be an accurate representation of the summary we were just discussing?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would ask for the admission of State's Exhibit 186.
Any objection? Okay, Exhibit 186, which to be clear again will be the PowerPoint presentation, is admitted.
And Your Honor, I'm going to ask permission to publish State's Exhibit 186.
You may publish.
And we talked about you being asked to look into some phone attribution. Were there specific individuals that you were looking to attribute numbers to?
Yes.
And who were those individuals?
Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow, and Alex Cox.
And this is the second slide of the presentation that you prepared. In looking at this, how many numbers did you attribute to Chad Daybell?
Between the time frame of October 2018 and January 2020, there were 9 phone numbers.
And of those 9 phone numbers, did you determine certain ones were of more interest?
Yes.
And how many were those?
3.
And how about in regard to Lori Vallow, how many numbers were attributed to her during that time frame?
6 phone numbers.
And similar question, were there some that were of more interest?
Yes.
And how many were those?
Again, 3.
And with regard to Alex Cox, how many phone numbers were attributed to him?
6.
And of those were some of more interest?
Yes, 3.
And you talked about a specific time frame. Why did you look at that specific time frame?
We learned through the investigation that Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow met on October 26, 2018. So we went back through October 2018 through sort of the end of the investigation of January 2020.
And when you talk about the end of the investigation, was there still an active investigation into the whereabouts of the children?
The whereabouts, yes.
So you'd focused on this time frame of when there may have been communications between the parties, is that fair?
Correct, yes.
And turning specifically to Chad first. In looking at that first number, is this a number that was attributed to him?
It was.
And can you read the number into the record?
208-690-9374.
And under that, there are 9 things listed. Are these things that assisted in attributing this phone number to the defendant, Chad Daybell?
Yes.
Were there other things that assisted in attributing the number?
There could be, yes.
Were these the main ones that you looked at?
Yes.
And can you go through this list of the 9 things?
Yes. This list of 9 items were documents, primarily documents, but other phones or something that I reviewed that had the 208 number in close relation to another identifier, either Chad's name or an account number, address, something along those lines that were attributed to Chad. So that phone number was subscribed to Tammy Daybell since March 17th, 2018. It was listed as the contact number for Chad Daybell on a Hawaii rental agreement effective December 15th, 2019. It was saved as contact Chad in Tammy Daybell's phone. It was the SMS or text number associated with chad.daybell@gmail.com. It was listed on a Citibank application in Chad's name. It was listed on the Life Map insurance benefit claim form next to Chad's name. It was saved as contact Bishop Shumway in the Lori for Style iCloud account. It was associated with Chad on some Allegiant flight records, and it was saved as contact Dad in Seth Daybell's phone.
And do you know who Seth Daybell is in relation to Chad?
Seth is Chad's son.
And Tammy Daybell was Chad's wife?
Correct.
Could I ask the witness to please maybe just pull the mic down a little more and talk right into it?
Yes, sir.
It's not that sensitive. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And then looking at this next part of it here, there's a reference to a Cricket account. Can you tell me what the significance of the Cricket account is?
2 additional phone numbers of interest were identified, and when the subscriber information returned, it came back to a Boyd dial in Mesa, Arizona.
And talking about a Boyd dial, are you aware if there was any investigation done to determine whether or not there is a Boyd dial that actually exists?
Yes.
And was there an investigation conducted?
Yes.
Do you know, were you part of that?
Yes.
And were you able to identify any actual Boyd dials?
Yes. We found 2.
Do you know if either agents or detectives did some follow-up with those Boyd dials?
Yeah, I believe some FBI agents in Utah interviewed the 2 Boyd dials as part of this investigation and cleared them of any knowledge.
And when you're trying to determine if there's any other Boyd dials in existence, what are some of the things that you were looking for to see if they're a real person?
Through database searches primarily, I conducted searches for Boyd dial, PO Box 405, Mesa, Arizona, and received negative results. I then did Boyd dial in Arizona and again received negative results. And then I just did a very broad picture of Boyd dial in the US. And those were the 2 that came back, the 2 in Utah, that came back as being real individuals.
And if you know, was there anything found to link either of the Boyd dials you located to these devices or these phone numbers?
No.
And I said devices. Let me be clear. How many devices did you identify as being associated with the numbers we're going to talk about next?
There was 1 device for all 4 numbers. Yes.
And so this first number that we're seeing here, can you read that into the record?
480-395-5126.
And there's 2 things listed here. Are those 2 of the factors that you considered in attributing this number to Chad Daybell?
Yes.
And can you read what those are, or explain a little bit about them?
This phone number was activated on October 31st, 2018, which was just a few days after Chad and Lori met, and then was either expired or deactivated on January 31st, 2019. And then secondly, it was saved as Melanie 2 in the Lori First Style iCloud account, along with Chad Daybell's known phone number 208-690-9374. So the Melanie 2 contact had 2 phone numbers associated with it.
And that was in the Lori First Style iCloud account?
Correct.
Do you know who that iCloud account was associated with?
With Lori Vallow.
And the next number on here, can you also read that one into the record?
480-812-5496.
And similarly, there are 2 things here. Are these things that you use to attribute this number to Chad Daybell?
Yes.
And could you explain a little bit about those?
This phone number was activated the same day that the prior number expired, January 31st, 2019 through July 1st, 2019. And it was saved as Contact Janie in the Lori First Style iCloud account.
And this next number, can you read it into the record as well?
515-402-0143.
And on this one, there's 6 different things listed under it. Are those factors that you use to identify this phone as one associated with Chad Daybell?
Yes.
And can you go through those for us and explain a little bit?
The 515 number was first identified by the Chandler Police Department in Lori's 480-692-9562 call detail records and saved as Contact Bubby in the Lolly Time iCloud account. It was activated on July 1st, 2019, the same day that the 5496 number expired, and was active through October 8th, 2019. This number called the Valley of the Sun mortuary on July 11th, 2019, and there was a recording of Chad Daybell on that call. There's a text from Lori that read conf number 99NBQ4, which returned an Allegiant Airlines flight in Chad's name. On August 11th, 2019, Lori sent a text to this number, which August 11th is Chad's birthday, saying birthday kisses all over. And it was saved as Rebecca Shumway in the Lori for Style iCloud account.
And we talked about the Lori for Style iCloud being associated with Lori Vallow. Do you know who the Lolly Time iCloud account was associated with?
Also with Lori Vallow.
And then we have one more number listed here. Can you read the number into the record?
401-569-8260.
And under this one, there are also 6 things listed. Were those 6 things what assisted in attributing this phone number to Chad Daybell?
Yes.
And could you go through those 6 things and explain a little bit?
This number was first identified as the first attributable contact of Alex's 334 phone number. It was activated the same day that the 515 number expired, which was October 8th, 2019, and ran through December 30th, 2019. On October 8th, the same day that this phone number was activated, Chad conducted a Google search for Rhode Island area code, the Rhode Island area code being 401. There was a text from 208-690-9374, also known as Chad's known number, to Lori on October 9th, 2019, saying, "I will call right now from a 401 number." The only contact that this attributable contact that this phone number had was with a number attributed to Lori, 480-489-4652, and another number attributed to Alex, 334-744-4205. And finally, it was saved as contact Bishop Miller in Lori for Style, in the Lori for Style iCloud account.
And again, looking at these that are listed under the Cricket account, I think on all of them you have that as one number is being deactivated, a new number is being activated.
Correct.
And again, these all had the same, appear to be linked to the same device.
Correct. They all shared the same IMEI number.
And then we notice here as well, we've got 3 numbers in yellow and 2 in white. Could you talk a little bit about why the different designations there?
Yes, there, as previously mentioned, there are a lot of cell phones in this investigation to sort of minimize the noise and really highlight the phone numbers that are going to be used in this case, in this trial. The numbers in yellow are you're going to hear about quite frequently. The 2 numbers in white, they were predating sort of the crime portion. They are helpful to attribute the phone numbers to Chad, but we didn't focus on them. We didn't see any content, text content in the iCloud accounts. So we can see that they were speaking to people in the cases, but the focus of the investigation was on those 3 yellow numbers.
And is that why the 3 yellow numbers all have more items listed as to how they were attributed to Chad?
Correct, yes.
And then on this next slide, we see 2 additional numbers that appear to be attributed to Chad. Could you read the first number into the record?
602-290-7288.
And similarly on this, we see 2 things listed. Are those how this number was attributed to Chad?
Yes.
And can you explain a little bit about those 2 items?
So in addition to there being a lot of phone numbers, there were also a lot of aliases for individuals through this investigation. So to help understand that, not just attributing the phone number to Chad or Lori, also to attribute the concepts of these different names or aliases to Chad or Lori. So the 602 number received a text on, sent a text on December 4th, 2019 to a group chat of the Daybell children that read, "Hi, this is Dad." And this phone number was also saved as contact Raphael in Zulema's phone, which was one of Chad's aliases.
And when you talk about Zulema, do you know Zulema's last name?
Hold up. One of Chad's aliases, Raphael? Raphael? Wow.
Dennis.
And so when you talk
Raphael.
about one of Chad's known
Raphael.
names, is that the Raphael?
Correct.
Thank you. And then there is a second number here. If you could read that into the record.
We're 80-341-9585.
And under this one, there are 3 things listed. Are those what assisted in attributing this number to Chad?
Yes.
And could you explain a little bit about those three things?
Yes. Another name for another alias of Chad was James and Elena as Lori. So the James and Elena iCloud account was associated with this 480, or the number that ends in 9585 was associated with the James loves Elena iCloud account. There was a text from this number again to the Daybell children, a group chat that's on 12/14/2019 that begins, "Hi, this is Chad." And according to Ian Pulowski, it was a number being used by Chad and Lori.
And when you say names associated with them, did you learn through your investigation that a name used by Chad was James or used to refer to him?
Yes.
And Elena was a name used to refer to Lori?
Correct.
Thank you. And these numbers are also in white. Can you explain if these numbers were a focus?
They were not a focus. They were sort of after the crimes had occurred.
And as you indicated, they were also a way in determining different aliases or names used by Chad and Lori.
Correct, yes.
Thank you. The next one that we go to has Lori Noreen Vallow cell phone attribution at the top. And so as we go through this one, the first number listed here, can you read that into the record?
480-489-4652.
And under this one, there are 7 things listed. Are these 7 things part of what assisted in associating or linking this number to Lori Vallow?
Yes.
And can you go through those 7 things?
This number was first identified by the Chandler Police Department during a review of the Lori for Style iCloud account. There is no subscriber name from the provider. However, account IDs were LollyTime at iCloud and Lori for Style at Hotmail. And the credit card information attached to this phone number was in Lori's Vallow name. And this account was effective from January 31st, 2019 through December 28th, 2019. This number appeared next to Lori's name on Allegiant flight records. It was saved as contact Lori and Lily and Melanie Boudreau Pulowski's phones. It was saved as contact Lori Vallow and Zulema's phone, along with 480-692-9562. It appeared in Delta flight records along with KKWalker75 at yahoo.com. And it was also a contact number on a Hawaii wedding quote request submitted by Lori.
And the next number here, if you could read that into the record.
480-692-9562.
And similarly, there are 7 things listed under this number. Could you explain a little bit about those in relation to this phone number?
Sure. Again, these appeared in various places within the investigation. We first learned of it during Chandler PD's review of Charles Vallow's cell phone, revealed this as another number for Lori. This number was actually subscribed to Lori Vallow, which was effective from February 4th, 2019 through January 5th, 2020. It was associated with the LollyTime at iCloud, Lori for Style at iCloud, and LollyTimeForever at gmail.com accounts. It was an Amazon shipping contact for Charles Vallow at 565 Pioneer Road, apartment 175 in Rexburg, Idaho. It was a number provided on an application for PO Box 415 in Sugar City, Idaho. It was saved as contact Lily and Lolo in Melanie Boudreau Pulowski's phone. And it was another number on the contact as a contact on the Hawaii wedding quote request submitted by Lori.
And looking at this, through your portion of the investigation, did you ever learn whether or not Charles Vallow ever lived at that 565 Pioneer Road in Rexburg, Idaho?
He did not.
Did you learn whether or not Charles Vallow ever had a PO box in Sugar City, Idaho?
He did not.
And looking at the next number here, can you read the number into the record?
808-755-5452.
And similarly, on this one, there are 7 items listed. Were these 7 items what assisted in attributing this phone number to Lori Vallow?
Yes.
And could you go through those 7 items?
This number was provided by Lori to the Chandler Police Department. It was subscribed to Premier Financial Services between January 8th, 2016 through November 24th, 2019. It was associated with Lori for Style at iCloud. There was an instant message to Peter Dixon on August 8th, 2019 that read, "Hi, Peter, this is Lori Vallow." It is saved as contact Lolo Vallow in Melanie Boudreau-Pulowski's phone. It is saved as contact Lily in Melanie Boudreau-Pulowski's phone. And it was another contact number on the Hawaii wedding quote request submitted by Lori.
And do you know who was part of Premier Financial Services?
Charles Vallow and Lori Vallow.
And with all three of these numbers, we see all three of these in yellow. Were these all numbers that were determined to be of interest in the investigation?
Yes.
And as we've gone through these, for some of these numbers, could there have been other things that assisted in the attribution in attributing these to Lori Vallow?
Yes.
But these were the main ones that you focused in on?
That I focused on, yes.
And turning next to the numbers associated with Alex Cox. Could you read that first number into the record?
480-351-9120.
And under that, there are 6 items listed. Could you go through and let me back up. Did these 6 items assist in attributing this phone number to Alex Cox?
Yes.
Could you go through those 6 and explain a little bit?
This was the contact number provided by Alex Cox to the Chandler Police Department. It was subscribed in Alex Cox's name with an effective date of February 27th, 2015 through, we don't know when it ended based on the search warrant. It is associated with email accounts homerjmaximus@gmail.com and homerjmaximus@yahoo.com. It's saved as contact Alex Cox and lollytime@icloud.com. It's saved as contact Alex Cox and Lori for Style at icloud.com. It was listed as a contact number for Alex Cox on Allegiant flight records, which also included homerjmaximus@yahoo.com.
And if you could read this next number into the record.
304-960-5998.
And this one has 2 items listed. Were those items what assisted in attributing this number to Alex Cox?
Yes.
And could you explain a little bit about those 2 items?
This phone number was identified through its IMEI through the homerjmaximus@gmail.com records. There's no subscriber name, but the account ID was raymaximus@gmail.com with an effective date of September 27th, 2019 through December 28th, 2019.
And this next number?
334-744-4205.
And there are 3 items listed here. Were those items what assisted in attributing this number to Alex Cox?
Yes.
And could you go through those 3 items listed there?
This phone number was associated with a Samsung Galaxy phone recovered from Alex's Rexburg apartment. Again, there's no subscriber name, but the account ID was raylamar@gmail.com with an effective dates of October 9th, 2019 through January 9th, 2020. And it was saved as contact Spencer's wife and Lori for Style at icloud.com.
And similarly with these 3 numbers, could there have been other things that assisted in attributing these numbers to Alex Cox?
Yes.
Are these the ones that you focused in on?
Yes.
And when we talked about Chad Daybell, we talked about more numbers. But on the first slide, we talked about there were those 3 main numbers of interest identified.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And on one of those, you'd indicated that it was only in contact with a number associated with Alex Cox and one associated with Lori Vallow. Is that correct?
Yes.
And was the number for Lori Vallow one of the ones that you'd identified as a main number with her?
Yes.
And was the one identified as Alex one of the numbers that you've identified as a main number associated with him as well?
Yes.
And Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
I wonder if they're seeing if this is a good time. We got about
Yeah, it's getting close.
12 minutes.
I was hysterically laughing because Jay, have you ever seen the movie Being There? It's old. It's got
No.
it's with it's an absolute classic. It's Peter Sellers. You know, he was in like the Pink Panther movies. So he plays, it's a classic movie, dude. You should watch it. It's hilarious. And there was a scene where like this group of kids comes up to him because he was a gardener that had worked in this mansion in this guy's garden for like 40 years and had never stepped out of the property. And he's kind of dim-witted, like Peter Sellers' character. So he's walking down the street. He's always dressed to the nines. He's got like a beautiful little bowler on and, real nice overcoat. And, looks like somebody who would work at a mansion as a gardener. And so this whole group comes up and they're like, did Raphael send you? He's like, we don't take no messages from no honky. You need to go back and tell that we don't hear messages from West Indiana. It's so funny. And then they had like outtakes where Peter Sellers was trying to relay the message to Raphael. And he's trying to repeat the line from the kids that were, accosting him on the street. It's classic. The whole movie, it kind of is like 30 years before. Have you ever seen Idiocracy?
Yeah, I love Idiocracy. Yeah.
Okay, so you'll love being there. So, like, Peter Sellers is a very like simple person. He relates everything to the garden. I plant the seeds in the garden and the garden will grow strong. So everyone that's around him, because he accidentally gets hit by a car by Shirley MacLaine, whose husband is like a political bigwig. So they then think that he's brilliant and that everything that he's saying is metaphors. All of his garden things are metaphors. So they ultimately feel that they should have him run for president. It literally,
that sounds good.
It was literally predated Idiocracy by 30 years, and it's kind of the same concept.
Speaking of Idiocracy, written by Mike Judge, did you see the skit? Who also wrote Beavis and Butthead? Did you see that skit on SNL this weekend?
No, I don't watch SNL, man. They lost me years ago, bro.
You guys see well, if you don't watch it, but it was so funny with Ryan Gosling hosted, who is just a natural at anything he does, but it was really, really funny.
I'll definitely, like, what I do is I do watch clips. Like, I'll watch clips of SNL. I just, I was spoiled, dude. I'm old. I was like the old school SNL.
Oh, I get it. Well, this is one of those skits where like they almost everyone in the skit breaks. It's really funny.
Oh, where everybody like can't stay in character.
They can't. Yeah, they start. They can't.
I love those. Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
It's pretty good. Yeah, Ryan Gosling's awesome too.
I don't know what's going on, folks. I assume that they're kind of scheduling now, but we shall see.
I mean, so what are you guys thinking? If you didn't know anything about this case, if you didn't know anything about Lori Vallow and you were just sitting in here in this jury, what are you thinking so far? I mean, honestly, like if we don't know all the background that we know and you're sitting there as an unformed piece of clay on the jury, are you feeling like, okay, when's the case against this guy start? Kind of.
All right, counsel, we took a sidebar to discuss scheduling. Do you want to indicate how the state wants to proceed going forward for today and tomorrow?
Your Honor, the state recognizes that the court did wish to end at 3:30 today. And I think given where we're at with testimony, the state has finished with this exhibit, but does have more to present through this witness. So I think it would make a logical stopping point. I did just want to confirm that Exhibit 186 was admitted, and then I do have that disc.
It was admitted. Okay, and we do have that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Jay. They
all right, and then for purposes of tomorrow's schedule, then we will run court again from 8:30 to 3:30. We may have a slightly longer lunch for the jurors tomorrow because I think we're going to take up a motion outside of the jurors' presence at 1 o'clock is the plan for now. We can confirm that tomorrow, but our regular court schedule will be in effect. So we'll be in recess for today and resume again at 8:30 with the testimony of this witness. So of course, I'll remind the witness the exclusionary order is still in place. So don't review any testimony between now and when you return to the stand. Also, thanks everyone in attendance for adhering to the court's conduct order. And then finally to those jurors before we recess for the day. Again, as we recess, please make sure to follow the court's admonishment to not do anything to look up or investigate this case or in any way, or to discuss it with anyone, including amongst yourselves. so that you can remain impartial until such time as you begin your deliberations. So with that, is the state okay to recess for the day?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, anything further from the defense? All right, if all would please rise for the jurors, we'll be in recess.
Oh wow, sounds like they are not doing anything today.
I think, well, they're going to have this hearing, I think, but it wouldn't be in front of the jury anyway. So yeah, Lori's update that I got at 3:15, she said, "Phew, I guess we know that Tammy was dug out of the ground."
Yeah.
That was a little dig on Pryor there. And then, to be honest, I don't know how Pryor is doing it alone, which is what I'm always saying. My longest trial I tried alone was 2 weeks, and I was exhausted. He has an investigator, but he's not at counsel table, so I'm not sure how much real help he can be. I can't get a read on how the jury feels about Pryor's style. It was very clear from early on that that Lori's jury hated her. So that's interesting. And then I asked who was acting up in the gallery, and she said, "Not sure. I heard it was some people who were critical of John Pryor and may have been heckling him under their breath. I'll ask around more." I also heard they may not have stood up for the jury. So those were our boots in the ground courtroom reports from Lori Hellis.
If you guys see here, I guess they are not streaming it because they have ended the feed, at least on crime. So whatever is
I'm
going
going
on.
to ask her if they're going to boot. I'll ask, are they booting you from courtroom for hearing? All right, we'll see. I'm asking if they're booting her. Like we'll be able to get the deets if she can stay in there. But like I was saying, like a lot of times if it's sealed, they'll excuse the gallery out as well. Including the press. So,
and then how do we just find out the next day? I guess,
or not at all. If it's under
Right.
seal, it's under seal. We don't find out about it. Yeah, there's a couple of interesting things going on. Like this motion that's going to be heard on the 18th is baffling. This other lawyer who's got death penalty certified, and that's interesting too. Like I'm wondering what the heck's going on with this. All right, Dizzy's sending me some stuff here. Okay.
Thanks, Mistina, who just sent me a $20 Venmo. Thanks, Mistina. You are awesome.
Mistina coming through in the clutch. Let's see. Okay. Based on the state's motion for expedited hearing and good cause appearing, it is hereby ordered that a hearing on the state's pending motions will be held on the 15th of April at 3:30 p.m. So, I mean, that's what's getting heard today. We just don't know what the heck they are. Interesting. And these are state motions. So it wouldn't be relating to Wood testifying, I wouldn't think. I don't know. It's interesting. Let's see. Julia Gulia says, "Thank you, good Lori." She's definitely good Lori. She's not bad Lori.
Yes.
So I don't know, man. I mean, Pryor's doing a solid job defending the case. It's like we all know the backstory, so we all know what the truth is. It's one of those things that, at least we think we do. Like, is it possible? Does a world exist that Chad was so clueless that he had no idea?
No.
Lori was pulling this shit. That can't be, right?
No,
That's like,
no way. I don't think so.
way.
In my opinion.
No way. It's like, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. And like, if you have jurors that have truly never heard of this case and don't know any of the stuff that, haven't seen the documentaries, don't know anything about Lori, haven't read newspaper articles, haven't seen, the date lines and the oxygens and all the stuff they've done on it, and they're coming in there. You know, like I'm not seeing the case yet, but that doesn't mean anything. Like they're going to recall a lot of these cops. The witnesses that we've seen have really primarily been to lay foundation in order to get exhibits in. So we haven't gotten to the meat yet. That's for certain. Like, so I wouldn't at all be concerned that this is like in any way, shape, or form reflective of the state's case against them. I think that they're doing the legwork they got to do to get in all the evidence they need to get in, and they're doing it chronologically. They're doing it, they got in the proof of death witnesses, which was sadly when they discovered the kids' remains, so they've got that element established. Eventually they'll have a proof of life witness on who in Lori's case was Kay. I don't know if Kay will be testifying again in this one as a proof of life. And I think Kay was the proof of life for JJ. And then they had, I want to say, they had somebody who surprised me for the proof of life for Ty Lee, and I think it might have been Brandon. I'm not 100% on that. It's been a minute, but they had two different witnesses for proof of life, and it's like in any kind of homicide case, you have to have, because you have to prove each and every element of the statute, you have to have proof of life that it was a human being that was alive in the world, and also that there was a homicide that took place. There was a death that took place. So that's why the state always, in any homicide case, you will always have proof of life and proof of death witnesses to establish that element of the statute. So that's why you always see this stuff. But
to me, it would be advantageous. I don't know if they plan on doing this or if they did this in Lori's trial, but much like I think back to the Murdoch trial where they got out through all that shit. Then they had that final witness. I mean, that where they had the timeline. Now that was like down to the minute. They don't need that down, but if they could put a witness up there who says, "All right, he texts her here at this time," then this they got to put it in an order, like with like a final witness where it's like, "Oh, this was all within like a certain amount of time. Boom, this happens. This because like doing it like this, like you said, they're laying down the foundation, but it's hard to kind of visualize like how quickly this all happened and how it all happened after they met." And how like they were, corresponding with each other as it's happening. But,
yeah, and it's such a convoluted story because it's so lengthy. Right. It goes like in Lori's case, they went all the way back to when Lori first meets Chad. Like they actually predated it. They went back to when Lori first kind of forged her friendships with Melanie Gibb. And those two and Zulema all traveled to see to this event, and Chad happened to have a couple of speaking engagements, and he had his little table set up with all his books, and that's where I'm sure we'll get to it. This first meeting with Chad and Lori, where he sees her and is like, got the cartoon eye thing, his eyes are popping out of his skull. Yeah. And, within like a half an hour of that meeting, he's like, we've been married and we were married in a prior life. I think maybe 3 times. It's like, I'm searching Lori, like doing his like shit. So, we'll be getting all that. Like this, like, of course, when the story gets, like really interesting from the trial perspective, that's when we'll be pivoting to Karen Reed. But like, I mean, if Karen Reed is going to take 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks, which is 2 weeks of trial, that's two full weeks, 5 days a week. That's, and I thought I saw something like they may not be going on Fridays. Like I remember hearing the judge saying something like Dizzy will probably be able to pull it up about that scheduling, how they're going to handle that trial. It's like the opposite of what they're saying. Like the Gull and Delphi is talking about going Monday through Saturday.
Holy shit! Saturday. You're gonna make
Saturdays,
jurors go on a
dude.
Saturday? That would be upsetting.
I mean, it does speed it up. You know what I'm saying? It's like you do 3 or 4 Saturdays, that takes a whole additional week out of the, out of the equation. So I mean,
Did they stop early again?
yeah, they had a hearing.
Hey, Ali.
Hi, baby.
Hi. So they stopped early again?
No, I mean this is their schedule is they stop at 3:30 their time every time. That's
Was
their
there
deal.
any sign of what this contempt motion could be?
Not really.
We're trying to figure it
they're
out.
hearing a motion right now, and it's under seal. So
Ooh,
yeah. I've texted Lori to see. We've got boots on the ground in the courtroom in there, so I'm texting to see if they kicked her out and all the all the gallery out.
Answered, then maybe she's still in.
Maybe she's still in there. Yeah.
Did they say who are they done? Like, gonna call a real witness, a citizen witness?
Like they're still on cops. It's all been
now
cops.
we got an FBI tactical specialist going over text messages. It's boring AF, but maybe tomorrow. I don't know.
The text messages themselves are interesting. It's just the whole,
Well, these are like, we haven't gotten to any of the juicy stuff. Like, this is all establishing like the early stuff, but they have dug into, like, I thought that the kind of the photographs with the one cop who's no longer a cop, talking about exhuming Tammy's body and then going into Hobby Lobby holding hands, and like, I don't know if that was the place in the trial for that. You know what I mean? Because it kind of hit with a real thud. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, I don't think anybody walked away from that being like, ooh.
I agree. Yeah.
I think what they might be trying to do, and I guess you'll see, I was thinking about this earlier, is maybe get all the police
Done with.
Except they are calling other cops later.
Well,
so
they are reserving
the
right to call them back again. So like, I don't think any of the cops have been released. So I anticipate, I mean, they are getting a lot of evidence in.
Right. And if they do it like they did Lori's, you're going to end up hearing all of the same stuff multiple times. So by the time you and Bob are gone and me and Shan are covering this, people won't have to be exposed to that same stuff, twice.
Right.
Assuming we know what the hell you covered.
I mean, when it gets to the stuff where, I mean, like, I don't even know that they'll call Colby, who was like just her, Lori's son, her oldest son, who just like I was like, when we were doing the podcast, I couldn't stop crying. We were trying to and this is pre-YouTube days. And it like something with his testimony, just like this phone call between Lori and her oldest son, where she's just so callous and just like, he's like, you like destroyed my whole life. Like everything, you've destroyed everything. And she's like, oh, it's fine. Yeah. Like, it was just, I could not stop crying, man. It was like, I was hyperventilating. It was crazy. Allison's like, do you want to stop? I'm like, I mean, like, I don't know that I'll ever.
Started and stopped and started. And
I just couldn't stop crying though. It was like, for whatever it was that like just like really struck such a huge chord with me. I just could not. And I'm like, we're gonna have to publish it. I'm never gonna be able to do it without like, the testimony just got to me, So it was like, yeah, Jay knows he's a crier.
I know. I definitely know.
We're criers. Yeah.
By the way, we should bring up if there's anyone new here. That's what Ali was just saying. When we start on Karen Reed, I don't know if folks maybe knew that Shannon and Ali are going to come on at nights, and they're going to give you you don't have to watch all the boring shit. We're going to timestamp the stuff that's important, and they're going to recap it for you. So that's what we'll start doing. But Karen Reed could be 2 weeks. We'll see whenever that.
And we don't know if they're streaming jury like Vordaer, like they did in this case. I mean,
streamed Vordaer in this.
Yeah,
Vordaer.
Vordaer. Tomato, potato. In the meantime, I want everybody to rent Being There tonight, and you can
homework
during the stream. It's so good. It's like, it's old, but it holds up, man. It's like, it's got to be from, I don't know what year it is.
Bye, everybody.
All right, I love
Bye.
you. Let me double check and make sure she's at. I'm pretty sure it's indoors.
Well, if it's not, just text me.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's the opposite direction, so let me check real quick. Yeah, it's indoors. All right. Tell her to bring a water.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think court. So Nate Eaton is the guy from Idaho News, East Idaho, and he tweeted 15 minutes ago, court is adjourned until tomorrow. So I don't think there's anything that's going on right now.
Well, they're having that hearing, but
Oh, they are? They are?
oh
doing
yeah,
it?
they're like, I mean, Dizzy sent me the notice. They're definitely having the hearing now, but it's sealed. So when it's sealed, they kick the press out, they kick the gallery out. Yeah, she sent me the notice of motive. It's the order. It's Judge Boyce's order, and it says that today at 3:30 p.m. that the state's pending motions are going to be heard. So yeah, they're hearing something, dude. What it is, we don't know. It's interesting. It's there's always stuff like this going on in big trials, you know, like all this kind of like hullabaloo behind the scenes things going on.
Dizzy court. Wait, Dizzy just court.
Wait, is that true? No, she said closed hearing tomorrow too.
Courts tomorrow.
At the end, he said that they were going to start on their normal 8:30 their time.
Yeah, that's what I thought he said.
We'll have to double check that. But I remember I heard him saying something about 1 p.m. too. So I don't know.
All right. Well, so I'll just make sure you subscribe to both of us, and then I think it's regular, and I think they're just having a hearing at 1. I think I could be. I think it's regular time 10:30, but then they have a hearing at 1. But make sure you have your notifications on. Oh, court finishes early tomorrow at 1 is what Dizzy's saying.
Oh,
I thought they were just having like a break and like, but all right. So there we go.
All right. So we got a half day tomorrow, Jay Bird.
Nice.
Half day. We got a half day. All right. Should we call it?
Yeah, let's call it, folks. So I will set up the stream for tomorrow. We'll be back at 10:30 Eastern, and it looks like we'll have a half day, and then we'll go from there.
All right. We love you guys.
Love you guys.
Thanks for hanging with us, and